San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Tuesday to everybody out there in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We got a great show planned for you today. We got a lot to talk about on today's show. Yesterday was a lot of Padres. Today, we do got a lot of Padres conversations to be had. We're going to start today's show talking Padres, but let's just lay out exactly what we're going to dive into today. So in the first hour, we're going to kind of recap what has been the offseason. We are 7 days away from pitchers and catchers reporting. Can you believe that? Where did the offseason go? It just flew right by.
We're not 7 days away. We're 7 days, 3 hours, 8 minutes, and 28, 27, 26 seconds away.
So by the 1 o'clock hour, we'll be 7 days away. Wait a minute. What time do they have the pitchers and catchers actually reporting?
I don't know.
That'd be what's in 3 hours?
That'd be
1 o'clock. Are they showing up at 1 o'clock?
It's a 1:10 start.
For the what? I mean, when I hear pitchers and catchers report, they're all there at 8 in the morning with their Starbucks coffee.
Pitchers and catchers report at 1:10. It's a 1:10 start.
1:10 start for pitchers and catchers reporting. I don't know about that.
No, that's literally what it is. That's what it's down. That's what it's at. It's
1:10.
Yeah, it's a 1:10 start.
That's the official report times. Everybody that's there in the morning with their coffee, when you see them walk in, and they give the little nod. They give the little nod.
At least
that to me counts.
That's at least what the
clock says.
Yeah, what the clock is counting down to. The clock's counting to a 1:10 start. 1:10 first pitch in Peoria.
For pitchers and catchers.
We're getting it early.
I guess. Are they playing the Mariners that day too or something? Is that the charity game? Anyway, in about a week, we'll be ready for spring training in terms of pitchers and catchers reporting. And then usually a week after that, you get your first game. I don't even know when the Padres' first spring training game is. That's the one schedule I never really look at because
it's the 20th, I think.
I've never really been. I've been to spring training one time, but I've never been it as an adult. I've been there. I went there as a kid one time. It was like a group trip. We went out there and we went to Peoria, watched the Padres and the Mariners with the surprise. The Royals and the Rangers were.
Was it?
It was not that surprising. No, Surprise was not surprising. February 20th, 12:10 Pacific time start. By the way.
And no, that's 1:10 Pacific, not 12:10.
Yeah, so that's
here. The clock, the countdown clock.
That's for Pacific time. Yeah, that means it's 2:10 in Arizona.
Yeah, 2:10 in Arizona. It's a 1:10 start for us.
They couldn't just do 3:10 just to make it sound like the 3:10 to Yuma.
They couldn't just do
they could have picked any time at this
a.m.
point. That's what probably should have been picked on the clock. We got what's the significance of the time? That's what I need to know.
I don't know what the significance of the time is, but I could definitely tell you the significance of today. Today is Fernando Tatis Jr. Day.
Happy Fernando Tatis Jr. Day.
Happy Phil Nevin Day.
Nevin Day.
Happy Adrian Gonzalez Day. All who celebrate.
Okay. Yeah. They got the Mariners on the 20th. They're on the road in Peoria. The Mariners are the designated home team that first game. How they do that is crazy. They're going to play the Mariners, then the Royals, then the Dodgers, Brewers, Cubs, Angels, Reds. I mean, they're going to play literally every day. First workout is on the 11th, as we mentioned before. Pitchers and catchers' first workout is the 11th. And then they get to the 20th, which will be their first game. So 9 days later, they're going to play their first game. And then they have a couple other things mixed in. They will play, the Padres do play Great Britain on March 4th, by the way.
Nice.
To gear up for the World Baseball Classic. So they're going to play Great Britain. I'm curious to see the other clubs that will do stuff. They won't have their first day off till March 11th.
We'll have the
And
team
you'll have
ready.
a bunch of Wednesdays off in spring training. Opening day again is March 26th. Earlier and earlier, it seems like. All right, let's lay out today's show. We're going to talk about Padres baseball in this first segment. Later on in the show, there are 6 teams that MLB.com has deemed put up or shut up time, 1 per division. We'll talk about that in the 11 o'clock hour. We haven't really been able to talk about this yet. Puerto Rico's World Baseball Classic participation is in jeopardy because of insurance. We'll give you the full lowdown on what that is at 11:30. Get to our sports thread around there as well at noon. San Diego FC opens up tonight. Year 2. A little bit more pressure in year 2 after what happened in year 1. I mean, it's hard to replicate exactly what they did in year 1, but they got to get after it, and they're going against a team from Liga MX that's going to be pretty solid tonight, and we'll talk about that at noon. We're going to talk about the NBA player that's trying to become trying to get college eligibility back. Talk about the Aztecs later on. We'll get you a first preview of Super Bowl 60, and we will also talk about a couple of things in the NFL in the 1 o'clock hour. But we got a lot to get to today on the Braden Surprenant Show. Make sure that you are tuned in at 1 o'clock for today's announcement of the biggest fan. We do have Aztec basketball tonight that we're going to preview after we talked about kind of the weekend recap briefly yesterday. But I want to start with Padres baseball. And with a week to go, roughly, from pitchers and catchers reporting to Peoria, that time seems to be kind of give or take a couple of hours. The Padres enter spring training with probably more questions than additions. With just over a week before Padres' first official spring training workout, the reality might be a little uncomfortable. San Diego has done very little to improve its roster this offseason. Even A.J. Preller over the weekend admitted as much. We haven't been super transactional. That statement lands harder when you consider that for 4 straight seasons, the Padres have added at least 1 meaningful contributor during spring training, 3 of those years resulting in postseason appearances. Preller is clearly banking on history repeating itself, if not later than what I think a lot of fans expect. The Preller plan, wait, then strike. Preller insists that the Padres are still shopping a bat or 2, another starting pitcher, likely via trade or a mid-tier free agent, not splash signings. Quote, working right up until spring training, hopefully add some guys here in the next couple of weeks. That helps us a lot. Seems like it's going to be a little bit more on the patient side of things. But again, the market is thinner, options are fewer, and expectations are still higher. I will say this, as much as all of that has been laid out, and that was in an article from Kevin Acee over the weekend, kind of recapping the winter meetings, recapping FanFest. The Padres have to be patient in this particular sense. There's a couple of things that play into that. One, the roster is solid. They have a solid roster. Now, they do have to rely on their stars being stars, but their roster is solid. There wasn't a lot of places that you were going to make drastic improvements anywhere. Were you going to make any improvement to the outfield going into this offseason? Were you going to replace any of your outfielders? Your outfield's Ramon Laureano, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Jackson Merrill. Are any of those guys getting replaced? No. Then you look at the infield. You have Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Jake Cronenworth. Are any of those guys getting replaced? No. Freddie Fermin is behind the plate. You're not replacing him. The starting pitching, you got 3 guys back in the starting rotation after you re-signed Michael King, and you got Joe Musgrove back. I mean, you could have added some starting pitching, right? And they can still do that. And they could add a bat at first base, but they do have Gavin Sheets, and it sounds like they want to keep DH open. There wasn't like a ton to completely improve on anyway. The Padres were a couple of pieces last year away from making a run in the postseason. Now, not having Ramon Laureano for the playoff series definitely did not help. They picked him up, so that's an upgrade in the outfield. Joe Musgrove gets added to the starting rotation. Now, you did lose Dylan Cease in the process, but you have 3 starters. You could use another pitcher. But even when you're talking about areas of need, a bat or 2, which would be a first baseman / DH and a bench piece, or a starting pitcher, The Padres are not in the market to make a big splash on the big free agents that were available this offseason. They just weren't. The money had already been spent. So as much as it's like, well, they haven't really done anything, they got a player back that was injured. They re-signed another starting pitcher in Michael King to a multi-year deal. Now, whether or not he stays for multiple years remains to be seen, although all signs start to point towards that. But you never know at the end of the season. So for A.J. Preller, yeah, working right up to spring training. If you are A.J. Preller and the San Diego Padres, why panic and overpay for a player that you could probably get a little bit cheaper as you get to spring training? And again, I don't think this is in the realm of the cheap bats as let's sign Jason Hayward for $1 million. Like, I don't think that's the case. There are still some bats out there that you can get that are affordable. There's still some pitching out there that you can get that's affordable to add to this unit. Now, they did bring in a couple of players that could help out the starting rotation. They're taking chances on Tristan McKenzie, Marco Gonzalez. I mean, those guys are definitely more long shots than anything else, but two guys that can compete for a spot and might improve your roster. Here's the other thing that I've been telling a lot of people that have said they're not excited for Padres baseball. When is the last time that opening day roster was the same when they went into October? Very rare. You can't judge this team yet until it is complete. You will have your first inclination of that at the end of spring training. You will have your next inclination of that at the trade deadline. And then you'll have your final inclination of that for a playoff roster. Right now, yeah, it's a little bit of an incomplete roster, but that doesn't mean they can't add to it. Let's talk about the roster realities. We briefly just mentioned this, but Gavin Sheets is going to get the first crack at being an everyday first baseman. Designated hitter will remain flexible, allowing rest days for Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, and others. Now, obviously, the flexibility also hints at a lack of certainty, which is not that great of an endorsement for roster depth, but the Padres have notoriously been a team that has used the DH as an extra spot more than having it filled as a roster piece. They've used it as a get guys rest more than anything else. So I'm not overly surprised by that. A.J. Preller mentioned, and we played the sound yesterday, that they are looking for a player that can complement Gavin Sheets. Gavin Sheets is a lefty. So maybe they're looking for somebody that can hit lefties that is a right-handed bat. I think in that particular case, a guy like Paul Goldschmidt would make a lot of sense. Guy rakes lefties. You could probably get him for relatively cheap. And it's not like bringing in Nelson Cruz. It's not like bringing in Jason Hayward. This guy's supposed to be splitting time. He's a good defensive first baseman. He's had a great career. Most of his good days are behind him, but you're not asking him to be an everyday starter. You're asking him to hit lefties, which is something last year he did at a very high clip across the board. There are players out there still available that the Padres can add that are going to reshape this roster. And I know a lot of fans have seen the projections, right? Fangraphs gives the Padres a 20% chance to make the playoffs. They give the Pirates the 7th best chance of making the playoffs. What do the Pirates, why? Because Paul Skeens? Because the fact that they're in a division that's wide open? Is that why their playoff percentage chances are higher at making the playoffs? I mean, with the balanced schedule now, everybody's playing everybody. You actually have less games against LA than you had in previous years in the old schedule. And just to kind of reshape everything, last year the Atlanta Braves had a 90% chance of making the playoffs going into the season. A 90% chance of making the playoffs. Baltimore had over an 80% chance of making the playoffs. Neither of them made the playoffs last year. I know injuries are a factor, but you can't look far into the percentage chance of making the playoffs this early. The only one you can is like the Dodgers are guaranteed to make the playoffs almost. That's almost a guarantee. We can talk about A.J. Preller's contract and all that stuff. I don't really want to dive into it. I am satisfied with the answer that A.J. Preller had about he's building a roster. He hasn't had time to negotiate. I find that to be fair. Talking about the payroll and the Darvish domino, I mean, Padres chairman John Seidler said the 2026 payroll will be similar to last year, sitting around $220 million, roughly $9 million higher than it was in 2025. However, a major wild card looms in Yu Darvish. Darvish is Darvish will not pitch in 2026 following elbow surgery. He is willing to walk away from most or all of his remaining $46 million left on his contract. And once finalized, that could free up to $16 million this season. AJ Preller painted Darvish as selfless, team first, focused on helping the organization even off the field, which is 100% accurate. And so they might be waiting for that too. I mean, they could totally add before then and have that ace in the hole, if you will, with you, Darvish, maybe stepping off the books. Because again, here's the deal with the salary cap, the luxury tax payments, and all that. The luxury tax is calculated at the end of the year, so you could add payroll and then work with you the rest of the season. In terms of what the Padres have actually done, it doesn't seem like a lot, and really, it's not. They signed Sungmun Song, a Korean infielder and DH depth piece to the organization. I think is a solid add to the bench. They re-signed Michael King, which was good, bringing him back. And they have then added Joe Musgrove, who returns from Tommy John surgery. But other than that, that's it. There's nothing else. They still need an impact bat. They still need a rotation upgrade. They didn't really make a bullpen splash, but they don't necessarily need to do that. Yet multiple front office voices do insist impact moves are still coming, just not from the top shelf. But I think Padres fans need to understand that it was never coming from the top shelf because the Padres already have their allotment of top shelf players, which goes back to the conversation that I have about parity, about what a salary cap does, what a salary floor does. It limits the amount of star players you can have on your team. And the Padres have to abide by those rules due to payroll constraints, but other organizations don't necessarily have to do that. That's why I've been such a component for a salary cap and a floor. Level the playing field a little bit across the board where everybody abides by the same rules. That's why they have designated players in the MLS. That's why they have these contracts in the NFL with a salary cap. That's why they have a max and supermax contract in the NBA. All for these reasons. Now, the final thing, and kind of what I want to get into next. When you look at this Padres roster, I mentioned all the reasons why they had not added. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they have spent the money on players that are high-performing players that they signed a couple of years ago that need to go out there and perform at a high level. That is what is being asked of them when they sign the contract to become San Diego Padres, why they got the big contracts that the Padres had hashed out. But now the question is, are the San Diego Padres asking too much of their core again? Is this a strategy that's going to work in 2026? I think a lot of people said at the end of 2025, but the question is, are the Padres asking too much of their star players? We're going to discuss that next on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. 10:23 on a Tuesday. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. We're going to talk a lot of Padres baseball here in the first couple hours of the show. And we're broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. We'll have the biggest fan coming up at 1 o'clock today. We'll talk about the Super Bowl later on in the 1 o'clock hour. But we got a lot to get to in the baseball world as we are just about 7 days away from pitchers and catchers reporting to Peoria. Always a fun time. Getting closer and closer, Frank. Closer and closer to talking about actual baseball instead of pretend what would happen baseball.
Yeah, exactly. And with that, we're also kicking off today, as you can see the title of our stream, which is spelled correctly today.
That's always great.
We are beginning our 30 teams in 30-ish days. We start with Baltimore today. Jake Rill will be on actually in the next segment to discuss Baltimore Orioles baseball. We're going to have Boston and Detroit representatives from their media camp coming up tomorrow and Thursday.
The rest of the week. Going to be a fun time. 30 teams in 30-ish days. We're starting with the obviously
we're going
Grapefruit. We're going the Grapefruit League first. Because the Padres don't have to deal with most of those teams anyway. And then we'll go into the Cactus League when we are pretty much off and running. So we'll talk about the Orioles briefly today as part of that deal.
Smash the numbers. Shut up, man. Okay. It's wrong again.
Yeah, Bings.
Yeah. Oh God. To be very honest, I was seeing red when I made this stream last night, so I was angry. I missed some things, and I guess we're on day 2 now. This is my February gimmick now. Is I just spell things wrong.
I wonder if you can change any of it. Probably not. Begins.
Yeah.
Today begins? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Yeah. Today beings.
Again, I was properly seeing red when I made these.
Oh man.
And what makes it worse is I made it a point to spell college in all caps properly in the description to show I learned from my mistake, but apparently I didn't.
We got 2 in a row. It makes my Twitter look bad too, by the way, because we started on my Twitter. That makes it look like I can't spell.
But no, I'm the idiot, and I think enough people know that.
That's a
by
foul.
Now.
You get a foul every spelling mistake.
He draws the foul.
Unbelievable. Well, we were going to talk about whether or not the Padres are they asking too much of the stars, but are we asking too much for Frank to put a title on YouTube videos?
Last night was too much.
It is a new description of English are hard for Frank. Jeez, man. The best part was like how pompous he was.
How proud I was. Yeah.
Puffing his chest out about how he can spell now.
I was a proud boy. Not anymore.
Where's the collage?
It's not there. No collages. No, nothing. I'm just...
All right, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Tim in Miramar. Tim, please tell me you know how to spell things.
What was that?
Please tell me you know how to spell things.
As best I can. You know, I graduated at least high school, you know. But, don't ask me to. All right. Hey, just give me a minute, thanks. I agree with what you said this morning off the top. Okay? The Padres only had so many places to do a few things. And they're bringing King back. So you got Pavetta, King, and Musgrove instead of Pavetta, King, and Cease. I'll take my chances. Left field, they improved, obviously. Liriano over, what's his face? That they started with last year.
Hayward.
And Hayward, thank you. Catcher, Fermin over Maldonado. First base, Sheets over Arise, which I'm glad they didn't sign. And we talked the other day, and Suarez just got signed today for $15 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Cincinnati, it looks like, so they've lost the chance of getting him. And I realize that was maybe a little reach, but they only had so many positions, like you said, second base, the bench, first base, and a DH. And I mentioned the other day Chisholm, and the guy shot me down. He said he only hit 186. I was just making a point in the playoffs. What Cronenworth hit in the playoffs? 0. How many times did he get on base? 0. So I like the Padres' chances this year. They've improved in a few spots. They can only do so much. Like you said, they already spent their money. And are they asking too much of their stars to be stars this year? Absolutely not. That's what the core guys got to do. Without Tatis, Machado, Bogarts, and Cronenworth doing the heavy lifting, this team's going nowhere, no matter who they get. And my point with Chisholm was, I'm disappointed they didn't trade Cronenworth. They could have got rid of him, I think. Get rid of his $12 million. You could have grabbed Chisholm or somebody else at second base, or given that money to Suarez. And we're running out of time before Goldschmidt and some of these other guys get signed. Spring training's around the corner. It's time to make that move. If it's going to, what are they going to save? $1 million, $2 million by waiting for one of these guys? They need that right-handed bat to fill it out. And we take our chances, guys. I like what you said this morning. I like what you just said about the stars. Well, I don't know what you're going to say about that, but the stars got to be stars. That's what those guys are getting paid to do. They only got a couple of years left, Machado and Bogarts, to be really good. And I like our chances this year. I don't care what the prognosticators say. I don't give a hoot. This team's improved in a lot of spots, and Miller over Suarez. Are you kidding me? I think we, who knows? I don't give the Dodgers automatic win in the World Series. I mean, shoot, the 8 times Toronto could have done something and won that series. So let's go. Let's roll. But I still think second base, and it looks like it's not going to happen now, but second base and a right-handed power hitter, guys. What do you think?
Tim, appreciate the phone call. Yeah, they could still trade Jake Cronenworth. There's nothing like stopping them from doing that. And try to make moves around. I think a lot of the planning hinges on what happens with Yu Darvish. I think a lot of these players that are still available are going to continue to be available because they're not getting the offers that they're expecting, and they're not getting the offers that they want. Now, I do agree with Tim in a sense of the longer you wait, the worse it's going to be. I mean, there's going to be a lot of players that are fly off the board, but they don't have to make a move yet. They don't have to make like a panic move or just sign somebody to sign somebody. I don't mind them doing their due diligence, and who knows? They might be negotiating with all of these potential pieces as we get into spring training. And here's the thing. Guys are going to get hurt, and there's going to be other openings out there. Some guys might not make the team that they're currently on because they got a lot of different players in that position, but they might be good enough to help the Padres. I mean, there's a lot of that happens in spring training, and there will be some time to do that. Now, before we get to our guest and get our...
That was 1 o'clock. Sorry, my bad.
1 o'clock.
Yes, 1 o'clock. My bad. I'm having a banner day today.
So Jake Rill is going to be on at 1 o'clock.
Yes, he'll be on at 1.
Okay.
Then
forget that.
I was just about to text him saying, "Hey, we're running a little long on the segment. We'll call you in a second." And then I saw you 1 o'clock. Okay.
Frank is having a Monday on a Tuesday.
Yeah, we're having a day.
Having a day. You know who always has a day? Brandon in Carlsbad. So I'll answer the star question on the other side of the break. But let's get to Brandon in Carlsbad. Brandon, what's going on, man?
All right, fellas. Well, let's have a day. Frank.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Frank. Good to hear from you. Hey, look, sometimes we're going to have those days, but there's 24 hours in the day. So, there's plenty of time to make that little shift. And I think the spelling and everything from making those YouTube thumbnails properly will turn out just fine.
Well, no, to be fair, I spelled everything right. It's just I pulled the wrong word out of the bag. That's all it was.
Yeah, copy. Everyone got that out there that's listening. Get off Frank's bumper, man. This guy's got to deal with Braden all day. Braden.
That's right. That's right. He does. That's tough.
Just a joke. Real quick, guys. So there's a phrase we've been using for I don't know how many decades. It's called Friar Faithful. We have the talent. Yes, we have a new GM, or not a new GM, but a new skipper, a new manager. So we're going to make those adjustments. We have the talent. I think we still have the time to kind of finagle in whatever decisions we're going to make on how the season's going to go and who's going to go where and who we've lost and who we've kept. So let's stay true to what we say we are. We're Friar Faithful, and we've got a little budget to still play with. And I really think that, sooner than later to make an act on a lot of this stuff. But kind of like the last guy said, man, it's like I'm not worried, man. I'm tired of being worried. Yeah. We already know those dudes up north got money. Whoopie frickin' do. Let's go play ball, pitchers and catchers, or what, a week out. It's time to roll, baby. Love you guys. God bless. Have a great day.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate the phone call. We got to take a quick break, but I'm going to answer Frank and I are going to answer the question and talk a little bit about the stars in this team. And are the Padres putting too much pressure on the stars? Are they asking too much of their core again this year? Is that a bad strategy? We'll break it down when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Standing us over at Sports Station 97 through the Fan. I'd like to point everybody to the YouTube page to show off what is another great meme by Juan Ruiz, who is a member of our show on the Braden Surprenant show page. And the meme is from The Simpsons, where it's the Days Without Incident poster. And it had a 0 on there, and they're taking the 0 down and replacing it with a 0, and it's Days Without Frank misspelling college.
I spelled college right in the description twice, as a matter of fact.
True. Spelled it in all caps.
Just
and
to show.
And in the process of Frank doing his victory lap, in a very arrogant way, smashed the numbers, immediately called him out for misspelling.
No, again, all the words are spelled right. They were all spelled right. It was just a wrong word.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say that was the case yesterday?
No.
Because there is a collage. You spelled collage correctly.
Well, then there you go.
So if you want to go by that logic, you didn't spell anything wrong yesterday either.
Well,
it just didn't make any sense to use San Diego State collage.
Yeah, no.
For collage basketball. Is that a basketball made out of collages, or what's the deal?
It's embarrassing is what it is.
It's embarrassing.
That is what it is.
It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
I'm surprised your mom's not like blowing up your phone right now.
She's working right now. Thank God for that.
Oh, so you get it after when she rewatches the show?
Yep. And even better, I'll get it in person too. Instead of just memes that I could ignore and turn off my phone. I can't turn off real life.
Johnson's right. You're allowed to make mistakes.
I know I am.
You can. Juan got 0 days up. Frank making excuses. The bit of Juan just being on your case is a great bit to me, at least. I find great enjoyment in it.
It's humorous.
It's humorous. You got to get him back every once in a while, though. It's hard to. He's just one step ahead of you every time.
Well, it's not even that he's one step ahead of me, is that he's 1 or 2 mistakes behind me. That's the problem.
It's a pretty funny meme. All right. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. All guests on 97 The Fan join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. All right, let's get into the situation at hand of the Padres. Okay, Padre-wise. Poor Frankie Casings. Padres-wise, the question was, the San Diego Padres asking too much of their core again? Because of the fact that they didn't address certain areas yet. I want to say yet. I don't want to say they haven't addressed the areas yet, per se. It's not like they haven't done it. They just haven't done it yet. And I mentioned in the open for people, and again, I think this Padres, forget the prognosticators. I agree with Tim and Miramar. Forget that. The reality of the situation was going into the season, how many of the starting 9 did you want replaced? Go through it. Did you want Ramon Laureano replaced? No. Do you want Jackson Merrill replaced? No. Fernando Tatis Jr. replaced? No. It's a whole outfield you don't need to make an adjustment on. Infield-wise, you getting rid of Manny Machado? No. You getting rid of Xander Bogaerts? No. You getting rid of Jake Cronenworth? I think some fans said maybe, but no. I would say no. Still a better second baseman than a lot of people in Major League Baseball. Are you getting rid of Freddie Fermin? You just traded for it? You have like 4 years of control over? 3 years of control? Whatever it may be? No, absolutely not. That leaves first base, which everybody, I thought, bought into Gavin Sheets being a fan favorite after what he was able to accomplish last year. And does anybody remember, just to put in perspective, let's go back. What was Gavin Sheets last year at this time, Frank?
He was a non-roster invitee.
He was a non-roster invite. He got cut from who?
The worst team in the history of baseball.
The worst team in the history of baseball. The Chicago White Sox, after coming off of the worst season in Major League Baseball history, said, Gavin, you're not good enough for us. We'll see ya. And they cut him. And then for the Padres, he was pretty good. So, yeah, I mean, they didn't make a splash somewhere, but most of the fans are in agreement that Gavin Sheets should be an everyday starter. Last year at this time, people didn't even know Gavin Sheets was on the roster. He got cut from the worst team in Major League Baseball history. They said, no mas. Adios. Padres took a flyer on him, and it worked out. Now, is he going to be able to replicate that this year? We'll see. But to sit there and say, like, oh, they didn't go get some big bat because they did it last year. They don't have to spend tons of money. I mean, people just assume that it's going to be high-level guys that have to be able to make the team function and be good. Gavin Sheets is making $4.5 million this year. He's got another year of arbitration next year. That's a steal of a deal. Sometimes you got to let the organization go find talent that's not going to cost a ton of money. There are good players out there that you can get that aren't going to cost a ton of money. Go get somebody that's hungry. But let's go back to the question because we went through the roster and the starting lineup. There were not a lot of spots that needed to be replaced. If anything, it's bench pieces and it's a DH. That's it, right, Frank? Am I missing anything there?
No.
You could roll in with the starting lineup that you had last year, minus the rise, add Gavin Sheets, and you have a solid baseball team. You need some depth. Well, depth isn't going to cost you $15 to $20 million. If you signed Eugenio Suarez, he would have to be a DH only, right? Does he even want to be a DH only? Probably not. Probably wants to play in the field. Where does he play? First, I guess, maybe. Is Gavin Sheets moving to that? I mean, you can get somebody that probably could get you the same production, maybe slightly less or maybe slightly more, and it's not going to cost you $15 million. Get some of those players. And you can't replace all of these guys that are under contract for a long period of time. Because somebody goes like, well, they got a year older. Did they get better with age? Jackson Merrill and Fernando do. They're still rising to that level. Yeah, sure. Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts might be getting a little bit worse, but they're still in the prime of their career. It might be the tail end of their prime. But you know what you can't do? Replace him with somebody making $20-something million a year. You can't do that. You don't have that kind of money. You want to talk about a 500 team? Go look at the other teams around the National League. You want to talk about a 500 team? If you're saying this team's going to be 500 as you go in, you're just being a doomer because you understand the doom. It's not the case. It's okay to be optimistic about this roster. So let's ask the question again. As we went through the roster, I think depth-wise they need to improve. They can do that with other pieces. I think they improved their depth a little bit with Sungmoon Song. He doesn't have to have the pressure of being a starter. He can come off the bench. He can play in as much or as little bit of a role as possible. We'll see what happens with Luis Camposano, but the bench needs improvement. It's not going to cost you $15 million to improve the bench. It's not. They can go find another Gavin Sheets. But let's talk about the question at hand. And that question is, are the San Diego Padres asking too much of their core again? My answer is no. Because that's the strategy the Padres decided to employ. And I think it's a decent strategy of, let's sign some big-time names on big time. And in order to get the big-time names and be the stars, you have to spend a lot of money. And if you're the San Diego Padres, that means you're investing a lot of your budget into those players. But you were doing that so they carry the team, and then you fill in with the rest. I don't think it's a lot asking guys like Fernando and Manny and Xander and pitchers like Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta and Michael King to go out there and compete at a very high level. Now, the pressure with that, now all of these strategies come with some sort of setback, and the setback or the conflict, not really the conflict, but the con of this particular strategy is If one of those guys goes down, you're in a jam. If they don't play at a high level, you're in a jam because now you have to have players that aren't getting paid as much help facilitate what's going on. But I think this team as a core, I mean, Manny and Xander are 33 years old. That's still relatively young in Major League. It's not like they're 38. They're 33. Mixed with a lot of other players on this team that are in their early 20s in Jackson Merrill, mid to late 20s in Fernando Tatis Jr., early 30s in guys like Ramon Laureano and Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts. These are our team. This is a team that's good enough to be able to win. And no, it's not asking too much to ask the stars that are getting paid the most money to go out there and perform and play like stars. I don't think it's too much to ask, Frank.
No, not at all. I mean, that's what they are. They're stars. They're meant to be the focus of the team. And when you're talking about, we talked about it yesterday. Fernando was just a little bit off last year. We went through those numbers yesterday. Bogaerts really only had half a season where he was outstanding. Manny, you could kind of say the same thing. For his first half was electric. Jackson Merrill was injured most of last year. He had a very start-stop year last year. All you need is one of those guys to turn it around. And you're even better than you were last year. And you were still a 90-win team last year in the wild card race. And not the 6 seed either. You were the 5 seed last year in the wild card. So no, it's not. It's not too much to ask for the stars to be stars. Because like I said, you just need one of those guys to be a little bit better than they were last year. And it's a completely different team.
Yeah, and somebody said in the chat, and I agree with it, and most of the Dodger players in their 30s.
Yeah.
You go through their list. I mean, they just added Kyle Tucker, who's 29, but he's going to be 30 very soon. Ohtani's 30. Blake Snell's 33. Tyler Glasnow's 32.
Mm-hmm.
Mookie Betts is 33. Freddie Freeman is 36. Edwin Diaz is 31. Teoscar Hernandez is 33. Tanner Scott's 31. Tommy Edmonds 30. Will Smith's 30. Blake Trinan's 37. Max Muncy's 35. Miguel Rojas is 36. Hyun Kim is 27. He's the youngest player on their players with guaranteed salaries. Alex Vesia is going to turn 30 this year. Brusar Gratterall's 27, but then Anthony Banda, who's a player eligible for arbitration, is 32. Brock Stewart's 34. Andy Ibanez is 32. Alex Call's 31. They have a very limited amount of players that are in their 20s. It's Gavin Stone, Andy Pages, Roki Sasaki, Kyle Tucker, and Hyun Kim. That's it.
And Kyle Tucker's not there really long-term for what we think of a long-term contract being. He's only there for 4 years, and he's got opt-outs. So, I mean, he may only be there for a year or two, for a couple of years.
Right. I don't think it's too much asking the stars to be stars. That's why they got paid the contracts that they got paid, right? I mean, that's the strategy that the Padres are employing of we're going to have some high-paying players. And as you mentioned, 90 wins from a season ago. And most of your team is back. The only difference is you have Gavin Sheets at first now instead of Luis Arraez. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is that an upgrade or a downgrade? I don't think it's much of a downgrade. If you want to compare it, maybe it's the same. But I think it's the same towards an upgrade. I mean, you're talking about a team last year that started the season with Jason Hayward, Martin Maldonado, and Yuli Gurriel. Mm-hmm. This team is already set up better for the start of 2026 than they were at the start of 2025, where they had to make all these moves. Because you had Hayward, Maldonado, and Gurriel, and still won 90 games. And how many games back did they finish behind LA for the division?
They were tied with 31 games to go. And they only finished, what, 3, 4 back?
I think they finished 3 games back.
Yeah.
From the team that ended up winning the World Series and, was the greatest team ever assembled because they have all this money, right? 3 games behind them.
And also, you may solve one of those problems because if Sungmoon Song doesn't have all that big of a learning curve, you may not need to go out and find a first baseman. You can move Jake Cronenworth back there and Gavin Sheets your DH. I mean, that could solve the problem. It depends on Sungmoon Song in that case.
Well, the other thing too is like the rotation. You didn't have Yu Darvish for most of the year last year. You didn't have Michael King for most of the year last year. You didn't have Joe Musgrove at all, and you still won 90 games. Who was pitching, right? I mean, we can say what we want about the starting rotation. They need more help, but start looking at who was pitching last year for the Padres throughout the majority of that season. When we come back, 6 teams that need to get it into gear. It's put up or shut up time, according to MLB.com. We'll start with the American League next. There's a look at some of them. We're going to have Frank kind of walk around as I kind of go through what some of these promotional items are. But the Padres today announced their 2026 promotional schedule, including giveaways, theme games, and events. Every homestand, you can get single game tickets for the 2026 regular season home games on sale on Tuesday, February 3rd. So you got to still wait until next Tuesday at 10 in the morning Pacific time by visiting www.padres.com. Season ticket members have priority access to tickets and enjoy the best available seats. Season ticket memberships have sold out for the 4th consecutive season due to franchise record demand, and therefore all remaining tickets for the 2026 season are available on a single game basis. So these will be, you could buy tickets starting on February 3rd. There are 15 all-fan giveaways planned for the 2026, highlighted by fan favorites such as high-quality wearables, stylish hats, and bobbleheads, all of which take place during select home games throughout the season, limited to the first 40,000 fans in attendance. There are 3 different styles of hats this year, and there's a bunch of other stuff. We're going to get to that, but we'll just kind of go through the beginning of the season to the end, and see if you can follow along here, Frank, with what we got. But the first giveaway will be on Friday, March 27th. That's the day after opening day. That's the Tony Gwynn opening day. There's going to be an opening series scarf presented by Saquon Casino Resort. Start season in style with a Cozy Padres opening series scarf, which looks nice. It's great. Nice little scarf. At the beginning games, the early games at Petco Park are usually kind of chilly. But that's a good-looking scarf right there. So that will be against the Tigers on Friday, March 27th. On Monday, March 30th, this one's super cool. On Monday, March 30th, they have the night. I'm a sucker for 1998 stuff. They have a 1998 belt bag, which is perfect for it's a bag that you could bring into the ballpark, which is awesome. I know my mom's got a bag like that. My girlfriend's got a bag like that. There's a lot of different. My sister's got a bag like that, and a lot of people use them to get in the stadiums, but now you can have a Padres one, which is great. So 1998 colors too. So they've seen they've debuted the original one that they had. They've had a City Connect one, and now they got a Padres 1998 belt bag. So that will be pretty cool for everybody out there. That's Monday, March 30th. On to Thursday, April 9th against the Rockies will be the Manny's Hot Corner bobblehead. So it's Manny Machado playing third base. They got the flames around the side. It's presented by McDonald's. First 40,000 in attendance. Display-worthy collectible features Machado at third base and is a keepsake for all the faithful. That's a nice little. I like the little bottom there. That's pretty cool. What is that? Is that the armband? Pink armband? Yeah, it looks nice. Again, if you want to go back, you can rewatch this on YouTube and take a look at everything in the on the deal here. Let's move on to the next one. Wednesday, April 15th versus Seattle Mariners. The puffer vest presented by State Farm. That's that vest right there on the table. That's pretty nice. The best part about this is, like, when I was a kid, like, some of the giveaways were kind of lame, but now they have made them so legit. I mean, that's a nice little vest right there. It's presented by State Farm. That will be, again, on April 15th against the Seattle Mariners, a Wednesday game at 6:40. Not a Wednesday day game. It's a Wednesday night game. First 40,000 fans get that. Against the Cubs, there's a waffle beanie presented by Motorola Razr. Waffle beanies on April 28th against the Cubs. Top off your fit with a soft waffle beanie made for night games at a ballpark photo op. This item is limited to the first 40,000 fans in attendance as well. So that's pretty cool. I like the bobblehead. The one they had last year was cool too, but the beanie. The one they had last year was cool too. First bobblehead for Mason Miller, Thursday, May 7th, at least in a Padres uniform. They got the Mason Miller bobblehead. Watch your speed. Elite pitching with a bobblehead that nods to Miller's clutch moments on the mound. He's got fire coming off of the baseball on his delivery, which is super cool. You can bring that a little bit closer to the camera if you want. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So Mason Miller bobblehead giveaway Thursday, May 7th. And 11 o'clock on a Tuesday. Now, I do want to dive into what MLB.com put together for this, like, put up or shut up year for these teams. There's one per division. You had to pick one per division. It's interesting. We'll talk about the American League teams in a second, but I want to go back to the starting rotation because, as everybody has said, and a lot of national media members have said, the Padres fans have this discussion. We've talked about this too when it comes to starting pitching and the San Diego Padres. If you look at overall the opening day roster for the Padres, right, from last year. So we're talking about the roster the Padres have or had going into the 2025 season. A team that ended up winning 90 baseball games. You start looking around at that roster compared to what you have going into this season. And now this is going into spring training without, injuries and all that other stuff that might happen. You have to look at this and understand that they are better set up for 2026 than they were for 2025. I mean, it's just across the board. Now, I'm trying to put up the lineups here. So opening day against Atlanta last year, right? They played Atlanta last year on opening day.
Yeah, it was the first four. Then
That's right.
Cincinnati.
This was your starting
Cleveland, not Cincinnati.
This is your starting line. This is your batting order last year. You had Fernando Tatis Jr. playing right field, batting leadoff. Same spot this year. He's a year older, right? I think that it benefits him more than anything else. You got an upgrade then. You got an older, better, probably Fernando this year. Batting second, Luis Arraez playing first base. Instead of Luis Arraez playing first base, you have Gavin Sheets. Is that an upgrade? I think it's a slight upgrade. I really do. Neither of them are that great defensively. I think Gavin Sheets, just by having more pop, I think is better. And when you look at what they had season-wise last year, I mean, Gavin Sheets had a 0.7 WAR, and he didn't play all the time. He had 252 with a 746 OPS, 105 OPS plus, Arraez 99 OPS plus. It's basically the same. So it might be just kind of the same. I don't know if I could give. Could you give Gavin Sheets an upgrade to Luis Arraez? Is he an upgrade, or is he relatively the same?
I would say that's a lateral move.
I think it's probably the same. I don't think you lose a spot there. I don't think you're worse there. Machado at third base, batting third, playing third base. That is pretty much the same. I think you're going to get the same kind of guy at age 33 as you got at age 32. I think the same thing is for Xander Bogaerts. I don't know why he hit cleanup in that particular game, but I digress on that. Jackson Merrill, center fielder for the Padres. Same. And then your DH was Yuli Gurriel. Like, I don't know who your DH would be right now. I guess it's Sung Moon Song, who hasn't played one game at the major league level. Anything's better than Yuli Gurriel as being the DH at this point. With Yuli's, like, at whatever he was at in his he was like 40 years old. They definitely need to improve that spot. But just going into 2026, I like my chances with anybody on the bench than I do with Yuli Gurriel. Jake Cronenworth, same guy. Left field, you had Brandon Lockridge. I'd rather have Ramon Laureano than Brandon Lockridge. And then your catcher was Elias Diaz. I would much rather have Freddie Fermin. If you look at the day two, Tony Gwynn opening day, top three are the same. And then you got Merrill and Cronenworth and Bogaerts, whatever. Sheets is in the lineup, which is the same guys you have now. And then you have Jason Hayward and Martín Maldonado. I would much rather have Freddie Fermin catching than Martín Maldonado. And Ramon Laureano over Jason Hayward. You're set up to have more success in 2026 than you did in 2025. Let's look at the pitching staff. Again, going into the pitching. Last year's pitching throughout the year for a 90-win team, Dylan Cease made the most starts. He went 8-12 with a 4.55 ERA. 90-win team. You replace Dylan Cease now with a healthy Joe Musgrove. I think Joe could do better than that. I don't think he makes 32 starts this year. But Dylan Cease threw 168 innings. I think Joe could throw 150 innings, even with him coming off Tommy John surgery. You got Nick Pivetta back. He had a great year last year, 13-5 and 31 starts. He's back. Then the pitcher that had the third most starts on the team wasn't Michael King or Yu Darvish. It was Randy Vasquez. He's coming back. He made 26 starts last year, a 2.2 WAR. Now, he flirts with disaster a lot, but you know what? He's coming back in the rotation. Michael King's coming back. I would expect Michael King to have a better year this year and make more starts than he did last year. He made 15 starts last year. He had the injuries throughout the season. He's going to be better than that. So I think you got an upgraded Michael King. You have Joe Musgrove. You have Nick Pivetta. You have Randy Vasquez. That top four is solid. You're not going to have Yu Darvish, who only made 15 starts. Stephen Kolek's on a different team, which is fine. He made 14. Ryan Bergert made 7 starts. Kyle Hart's back on the team. I don't know if he's going to make any starts or not. He made 6. Nestor Cortez made 6 starts. JP Sears made 5 starts. David Morgan made 2 starts. And Peralta, Reynolds, and Waldron all made 1. That is the starting rotation that got you through 162 games last year. Any of those players right now, first of all, most of them are coming back, with the exception of Kolek and Bergert, who are now on different teams, and Nestor Cortez, who you didn't re-sign. A lot of those names are coming back, Frank. I don't think the starting rotation is in a worse spot than it was last year going into the season. And if those are the pitchers that got you a 90-win season, maybe just one guy, a Tristan McKenzie, a Marco Gonzalez. Who knows what you get out of JP Sears working with Ruben Niebla, a Matt Waldron, Randy Vasquez. I mean, these are the players that are replacing guys like Ryan Bergert and Stephen Kolek and Nestor Cortez. I don't mind that. I think you're set up for more success in 2026 to start the season you are in 2025. And that team last year made moves at the deadline and got themselves into the playoffs, Frank.
Yeah, I mean, the only guy you're really missing is Dylan Cease. Because the way I look at it, you swap Musgrove and Darvish. That's how I look at it. But you still have Pivetta, you still have King, Vasquez, as you mentioned, and then that's your rotating number 5 spot, which is what you had last year also. So, I mean, if you really look at this starting rotation, you're not much different. As a matter of fact, I would say Musgrove is an upgrade over Yu Darvish at this point in their careers. I think you're a little bit better in the starting rotation than you were last year, and you also have some more depth in that starting rotation as well, because now instead of a rotating 4 and 5 like you had last year, you have a rotating 5. So that adds a little bit more depth to it.
I think the depth right now is a lot better than it was last season, and they still want to add another guy, and there's still pitchers available. And here's the other thing, too. $16 million potentially coming off the books with Yu Darvish voiding a contract. You can get a good pitcher at $16 million. It's not going to be it's not going to be a ace. It's not going to be a 1 or a 2, but you can get a number 3 for $16 million on the market. And there's still guys out there that are available that would probably take a little bit of that. Or maybe you pay a little bit more to be able to, get one of these players, for a couple of years. Maybe you backload the contract. I mean, there's still guys you could get, like Chris Bassett right now is projected to get $18 million a year. That's like if you doesn't void the contract, if you think about it from that perspective, and you still had to pay him, that's like adding $2 million to the deal by adding any of that.
I would shy away from Bassett. I would go more for like a Lucas Giolito in that spot. Because
I was just using as an example. You could use Bassett. He's a $18 million projected. Nick Martinez is expected to get $14 million. Justin Verlander is expected to get $15 million. Giolito expected to get $18 million. Patrick Corbin doesn't even have a projection on there. Zach Littell is still available as a starting pitcher. He's expected to get $12 million. I mean, there are pitchers out there around the $16 million that goes towards the luxury tax that you could pick up that would automatically be an upgrade to whatever you have as your number 4 starter.
There's really only 3 that I would consider, and that would be Giolito, Martinez, and possibly if you can work out some magic to get a Zach Gallen. Those are the only 3 that I would really consider that are left on the market to shell out that kind of money for. Especially if Darvish doesn't back out of his contract.
Zach Gallen's expected to get like $22 million. He did turn down the qualifying offer from Arizona.
Yes.
So that might have to factor in the decision. But you can get guys that fill out the rotation. I mean, I think all those players are better than J.P. Sears and Marco Gonzalez and Tristan McKenzie. I mean, one of those guys is going to probably emerge during camp. I mean, Tristan McKenzie could be the pitching version of Gavin Sheets.
Yeah, Tristan McKenzie, that kid has a lot of upside that he was able to show a glimpse of in Cleveland, but it just kept getting derailed with injuries and just had a litany of problems after that. So he has a high ceiling, does Tristan McKenzie, and I love the fact the Padres were able to go out there and pick him up.
That's a big add, I think, to this rotation. The guys competing.
Really underrated from that day, because that was the last day before we went off on the winter break, and that was the same day they got Michael King, the same day all the Sun Moon Song rumors were going around. But Tristan McKenzie was the first one, and that was the underrated fly under the radar move that he made that day that might end up being the best move of the 3.
They could go out there and sign a Nick Martinez for $14 million. 1 year, $14 million with an option, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the other thing too. There's going to be pitchers available at the deadline that you're not going to have to spend a lot of money on. I think Dustin May's getting like $12 million. If Dustin May shoves for the Cardinals, which is a massive if, he's going to be available, and then you add him to your rotation. If you want, I mean, a player like him, I'm using him as an example. People are like, hearing Dustin May, they'll freak out. But then all of a sudden your rotation's 5 deep, and then you have Randy Vasquez as a guy that's like a swing guy, right? Then you have guys like Randy Vasquez and players like J.P. Sears and Marco Gonzalez and Tristan McKenzie. I mean, these are all guys that could be part of that equation post-deadline. Like, viewing things from that perspective, the pitching staff is going to be in a good spot because the top 3 are anchoring this. Now, here's the other thing. As you look at free agents that are still available on the market for starting pitching, you can make this path either 2 ways. One, as an organization, you believe that Joe Musgrove, Michael King, and Nick Pivetta can get you through the playoffs, right? How many starting pitchers do you need in the playoffs? 3 and a swing guy.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can look for swing guys, right? And if you're looking at swing guys, you get a guy like Nick Martinez who can start and pitch in the bullpen. That, to me, has the most value. And a guy that's pitched here before and has played here before and knows the division and knows being in San Diego. I think that's a good place for Nick Martinez to end up, is right here in San Diego.
How much? Because I'm looking at the Major League, the MLB free agency list right now. How much is Eric Fetty projected to make? Because he has not been picked up. He's 33 years old, at a 3.2 WAR last year. He's not that far off. I mean, he's higher on the list than Justin Verlander, higher on the list than Miles Michaelis.
What is that on? Like projected WAR or something?
No, it's right next to his name on the MLB.com sheet that's at the top of our it's at the very top of our rundown.
I don't know. I haven't seen him pop up on the I mean, I've been looking at the Fangraphs free agent list.
Because Eric Fetty still, at least according to MLB.com, has not been picked up yet. And Fetty last year, let me see what he did last year. Fetty had a solid year from what I can remember.
So while Frank's looking at that, again, I look at the starting rotation. They're going to need another arm, but I think it's set up for more success going into 2026 than it was in 2025. And I think you can do that with any part of the lineup.
Oh, never mind.
What, does he get picked up by somebody?
No, he went 4-13 with a 5.49 ERA.
Yeah, that's why his projected WAR is not popping up on this page.
Never mind.
Nice.
It was a fun thought.
You're not having a good day.
Nope.
Guy's going to foul out before noon, before halftime. Unbelievable. Let's get out to Steve and Poway. Steve, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on?
Hey, Braden. Yeah, I called you quite a few times last year. A lifetime Padre fan. But here's the thing. I haven't really been paying a whole lot of attention this year yet. But I want you to try to sell me on this team this year because I'm not feeling it. I'm looking at this team basically downgraded. We didn't upgrade, in my opinion.
Where did you downgrade?
Losing Arias is the number one. I don't care what you think. I think he was a spark plug for this team. It's the same basic team that we had last year, and I know they made the playoffs, but they were terrible. They couldn't hit. Cronenworth went 0-4. Manny got tired the last month and a half of the season. You got whether you like Schultz or not.
Steve, you can't say the team was terrible when they won 90 games.
Okay.
How bad is everybody? How bad is everybody? The playoffs are such a crapshoot, Steve. It's 3 games.
Okay, but the facts are the facts. We've seen it 2 years in a row when at the end, Manny got tired the last month and a half of the season, right? So, and he couldn't hit. Now, I guess we can all cross our fingers and hope that they're going to play to that level again. But to bring the same exact team back, I don't think any other team's done that. And then you bring a new manager in that's never managed before. Well, you have Schultz, who, whether you like him or not, was a winning manager. I mean, we all start the new season with blinders on and think, oh, this is the great team and we're going to go somewhere. And I hope we do. But I want you to try to convince me that we have a better team this year.
It's going to be hard to convince you, Steve, if you think winning 90 games is a terrible team. I can't. It's going to be hard to do that. If you look at the entire roster that won 90 games and you brought back the same roster back, are they going to be better than over the hump of what the playoffs were? I don't necessarily know if that's the case. But first of all, I disagree with the Luis Arias thing. I think he kills your team. He's a rally killer, and he's a one tool player. That's it. That's all he did. He's a one tool player. I mean, you start looking at the metrics of Luis Arias. His swing, his exit velo, and his swing speed have continued to decrease. The plane of his bat continues to decrease. He is a declining player, and the only asset he has is he makes contact. Well, making contact's one thing. That's great. But he doesn't make any contact or hits in the clutch. So I'm going to start with the fact that losing Luis Arias is a betterment to the Padres. Now, Luis Arias could come out for the Giants and hit 300 and tag the Padres every time they play him, but that still doesn't take away from the fact that he has no position on this team. You want to talk about the team being improved? Yeah, they need to add some power to the lineup. And they need to add power to the lineup in positions that are power positions. And you know what that is? Not having Luis Arias play first base, because that's the only position he can play. Now, as I've said multiple times about this team, you could look at it in a vacuum and just pay attention to this team, but start going through the National League. You got to be better than 9 teams. I want you to go through and look at the rosters of all these other teams and start telling me who's better. The Padres got to be better than 9 of those teams, 9 teams in the National League. 6 teams are making the playoffs. They got to be better than 9 teams in the National League. And you already know a handful of those teams aren't even trying to win this year. I went through this yesterday with Frank. You're right now better than the Cardinals. You're right now better than the Nationals. You're right now better than the Rockies. That's 3 teams off the list. Right now, you're better than the Marlins. And you're probably better than Atlanta, but we won't throw them in there yet. You're better than the Marlins, so that's 4 off the list. So now you need 5 teams to be better than. You go to the Central, you're better than the Pirates. Now you need to be better than 4 teams. They got Cincinnati there. You're better than Cincinnati with their lack of a starting rotation and bullpen help. So now you got to be better than 4 teams. You got to be better than Arizona and San Francisco. Maybe Atlanta. I mean, you start looking at their rosters compared to yours, your roster is deep, and you got players. You got guys that can play. Going cold in a 3-game series, yeah, it happens. That's playoff baseball. It's not always going to work out. I mean, it took the Dodgers 10 straight years to finally win a World Series when they had the best team money can buy. But in terms of selling the team is relatively the same, if not better than it was last year. And going into the season, it is better in 2026 than it was in 2025. I listened to what you had to say, and Tim, Steve, I appreciate the phone call, man. But the reality is, if that is your worldview on the Padres, I can't convince you. You're not going to be convinced. So you could change your outlook of what this team's going to be, or you could just be like, yeah, they're going to suck. I mean, if you thought they were terrible last year after winning 90 games, I got nothing for you, man. I really got nothing for you. I can't believe that. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. Tim and La Mesa, we'll get to you when we come back. Got to take a break on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. 11:27 on the Fan. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. I'm still thinking about the phone call we just got. And I understand reasons why you would be pessimistic about the season starting. But my question that I asked, and we talked about this during the break, Frank, it's like, of all the years you've watched Padres baseball, there's a lot of you out there that have watched Padres baseball longer than I've been alive. I don't know, in the grand scheme of things of being a Padres fan, where in your timeline of watching the Padres, this is the year that you're not excited to watch San Diego.
I don't understand it.
I don't get it. I mean, just in my lifetime, look, I've only been on this planet for 30 years. But just in my lifetime of being in San Diego and living here my entire life and watching this Padres team as long as I can remember, I could probably count on one hand how many times I was super excited about what the outcome of the season might be. And you know what? All of those years are 2019 and on. I think there might have been one time, like, because even in 2010 when the Padres won 90 games, there was zero expectations for that team. I mean, absolutely zero. Adrian Gonzalez had a heck of a year. They gelled together properly. There was like a little bit of a jolt for the season. That was an anomaly of a season. And the Padres got off to a hot start. And you're like, hey, look at this team. They didn't even make the playoffs that year. Every other year after that, it was just kind of like, oh, cool, like baseball's back. That was the only excitement. And it would just entertain you until you could get to OTAs and mini camps and all the NFL stuff that the Chargers were playing in and participating in. That was it. I mean, I'm sure like in the 90s, people were excited before a couple of years, like 98, right? I mean, I was 3, so I can't really remember that as much. Maybe 06, you were excited. 07, when the Padres were winning a couple of division championships in the previous years. But other than that, in my lifetime, I could probably count on one hand the amount of times I was excited for Padres baseball. And it's all in the last half decade. And so that's why I don't get the being pessimistic about the start of the season, when the start of the season you are set up for better success this year than you were just last year. And we haven't even started camp yet. I understand the different expectations. Like, I'll understand that from a younger audience that is used to seeing this team now, right? And they want to get to the next level. Like, I experienced that with TCU football. In my experience with TCU football, they've been good. And so when they have years that are 500, I'm disgusted. But the alumni before me and the fans before me went through some dark years of TCU football. And you know what? They're just overjoyed with the fact that the team wins 6 games. Maybe it's about perspective. I think it's a little bit more about perspective. And the other thing, too, this is what people need to stop doing here, and they need to stop doing around the country. Stop trying to compare yourself to the Dodgers. You're not. You're never going to be them. And if you try to compare yourself to that team, if you're a fan of any team in Major League Baseball and you try to compare yourself to that team, you will always be upset and depressed because you will never be that team. Nobody will. But the reality is there is reason for optimism and reason for excitement and reason why this baseball team is going to make some noise in 2026. And that's before they even add anybody. Now, if injuries happen and things start, I understand. Now you can start putting together like, oh, this is not great, because they are, unfortunately, a couple injuries away from having a very different season going into this year. But in terms of the overall roster, the starting lineup and the starting rotation, you are in a better spot in 2026 before pitchers and catchers report than you were just a year ago. I agree with Trav in the chat. If you are a Padres fan, you are living right now during the best time of being a Padres fan. There is no other time period in which the Padres have been this consistent at making the playoffs in their existence, except for right now. And if that's not good enough for you, not to say that you want to settle, but if you have to like really evaluate what is going to make you happy when it comes to Padres baseball. And I get it. Like, you want to win a World Series. All of us do. All of us want to see San Diego win a championship in something. All we got is an AFL championship in terms of major championships. But as much as you want to push for the next thing, stop and understand and enjoy the moments you have right now, because you can always go back to being the Padres from 2011 to 2018, or being the 2003 Padres. And that's just flat out miserable. And I remember in those years, 2011 through 2018, I remember those years going, I don't even care if we make, I just want to compete for a playoff spot. You made it through the dark days, Padres fans. You've made it through a stretch of time that was probably the worst in Padres history. And now you are getting to watch a team that has made the playoffs 3 out of the last 4 years, and a team that is, again, going to put together a roster that has stars, has excitement, and Petco Park is the place to be. As much as you want to see this team win a World Series, like everybody else in town does, enjoy it. Because it could be gone tomorrow and you never know. Enjoy it. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Tim and LeMacy on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Tim?
Oh, just wandering around downtown listening to this. You mildly stole my thunder in your little pre-accepting me bit, but I was going to hit with, because I was listening to that guy who sounded like he may be older. I have been going to games since the 80s. I have watched a lot of bad baseball. And I agree with your general contention that it's a golden age for Padre baseball, undoubtedly. Right? Like, I spend most of my life knowing that I would stop being, well, I still watch the games, but stop being really interested by May or June, right? Like, it was done. To answer your question, I had seasons in 2006. We knew the Cardinals were going to beat us. It really wasn't that exciting. 98 is the exception to that. And I even remember 84, when, again, we didn't know we were going to be good. We just ended up being good by dumb luck. And then we keep running into generationally great teams like the 98 Yankees and the 84 Tigers. I do take a little issue with your we're better this year and we're like, I don't know that saying we re-signed a pitcher that we already have, one of our pitchers is on, and we lost one of our top pitchers makes us better. I'm not saying that it's bad, but I think that might be a bit of a bold take to say that we're better now than we were at this point last year.
No,
and
let me clarify.
We are deep.
Set up for more success to start the season than we were last year.
I don't get that, and I'd listen to your explanation off, but I would also argue the other problem is you made a contention. We're not deep. You made the point. You kind of contradicted yourself before and after the break, which is we're better and we're deep. We're not deep, and if we get injuries, our farm system's lack of depth is going to show up real quick. So that's my concern. I'm still excited. I know that things will happen because that's what AJ does. He does a bunch of stuff in February, and we're all like, wow, that's cool. I'm with Chris Ello on this. I don't know why everyone hates Luis Ariz other than the fact that he can't catch the ball, but he's going to hit 340. He's going to kill us this year. That's what happens. But hopefully that won't matter. But I don't know about the idea that we're better and deeper. I think that's a little bit of a stretch, even agreeing with you that it is definitely a golden age. But if anyone like that guy has been watching the 80s, it's hysterical to think that it's recency bias, right? Now we've got a little success, so everyone wants us to just throw money at the problem.
Tim, appreciate the phone call. I don't think our roster is I don't think the team is better right now than it was at the end of the year last year, but I do think it's set up better for success going into 2026 than they were going into 2025. And that's simply with the fact that they don't have Yuli Gurriel or Jason Hayward or Martin Maldonado, and they have upgraded all three of those spots. I mean, from that perspective. Now, in terms of overall, they still need a lot of help. And I don't think that they're deep. I think that they have better opportunity going into 2026 with the roster as it stands right now than they did at this point last year in 2025. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I mean, Laureano is better than anything you rolled out in left field last year at the beginning of the season. I think the pitching is set up for more success with what you had to go through last year, and then the same thing with some of the other players. We'll get back to your phone calls when we come back. We are super late. We will get to our sports thread as well. The Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan.
Quinn and Chris on the Fan.
Back at it again. We'll have Matt Snyder to talk a little baseball. We're one day closer to the Super Bowl, and Chris Ello joins us midway.
Listen to Quinn and Chris weekdays from 2 to 6 on 97.3 The Fan.
The wait is over. 2026 Padres single game tickets are on sale now.
Can't do it any better than that.
Secure your seats for the biggest matchups of the year, including opening series presented by Sequan Casino Resort, March 26th through 28th against the Detroit Tigers, along with the Yankees, Dodgers, Blue Jays, and more.
Gonna go!
Plus, this season's giveaways and promotions are bigger, bolder, and better than ever. So secure your tickets early if you want in.
Say it, Tommy!
Secure your seats at Padres.com/tickets.
This is bananas. No, seriously. Better Buzz Coffee just dropped the new banana pudding best drink ever. Espresso, vanilla buzz, and dreamy banana pudding cold cream. Everyone's talking about it. Try one today at Better Buzz Coffee.
Uber sexual abuse? Know your rights. Results matter. Call 855-GET-ROSS or go to 855getross.com.
Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. This message is paid by Jurowitz Law Group. Attorney Ross Jurowitz, responsible for this advertisement, is licensed in California. Main office is located in San Diego, California.
Hot tub, hot tub, hot tub. Major manufacturers and warehouses clearance of new 2026 inventory. Friday through Sunday. Mission Valley Mall. Over 100 hot tubs on display and everything must go. New 2026 inventory. Hot tubs starting at $29.95. Full inventory 40 to 80% off. See the revolutionary swim spa in action and save up to 60%. Trade-ins welcome. Free delivery. We'll even haul away your old hot tub. Worry-free installation. 18-month interest-free financing. Millions of dollars of inventory must be sold. Mission Valley Mall in the Big White Tent. Free admission. Free parking. Call 833-SPA-SALE.
Decisions determine results. So which path do I want to take? Help people in need or stand on the sidelines watching? Worry about how to pay for school or have my education paid for? Push myself and learn new skills or stay the same? My decision is to serve part-time with the Army National Guard, and my results will be life-changing. What will you decide? Go to NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service.
Sponsored by the California Army National Guard. Aired by the California Broadcasters.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000-466. For a full list of games and rules, play at 7 Mile Casino. Visit 7milecasino.com.
Hey, it's Ben Woods here, reminding you that San Diego's best place to play cards is also its closest. 7 Mile Casino offers Texas Hold'em poker, California-style blackjack, high gal poker, and baccarat.
Make sure you get in on the weekend for their award-winning brunch from Sammy's.
It's so easy to get to. You don't have to drive into the East County. Just head down the 5 freeway to Chula Vista. Get off Bay Boulevard right there on San Diego Bay. It's our place. Make it your 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes from downtown.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast!
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Oh, hello. It's me, the calculator that lives inside of TaxSlayer. I love numbers. Like 100, as in 100%, as in TaxSlayer's 100% accuracy. Guaranteed. And 0, as in $0, as in it costs $0 to file and get the refund you deserve. TaxSlayer Simply Free, if you qualify. Simply Free is available to a limited number of taxpayers. Age, income, credit, and deduction restrictions. See TaxSlayer.com for eligibility requirements. TaxSlayer, file fearlessly.
This is the story of the one.
As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is an Odyssey Sports Minute.
Sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. New England, we no longer have a problem. Drake May took the podium on Monday and said his shoulder is feeling good. Still like the Seahawks to beat the Patriots, but this feels like a brand new ball game. We're going to see a healthy Drake May versus this killer Seattle defense. I like it. I'm Maddie Bates.
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Kalshi. Trade on anything. The big game is here, and now you can trade on football legally in California on Kalshi. Right now, New England is trading at 32% to beat Seattle. A $100 trade pays out $289. Use code FAN to get $20 when you trade 100. K-A-L-S-H-I. Kalshi. Trade on anything.
Thanks for spending your day with the Braden Surprenant Show, broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how.
Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show. Live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number sports station 97 through the Fan. Didn't even get to the MLB.com article. Maybe we'll get to that in the next hour or so. Do you want to get back to your phone calls? Eli 61967 in the chat. I get what you're trying to say. The Padres are going to start the 2026 season with a better team than we started in 2025. That's exactly what I'm saying. The start of the year, I think the roster right now is better than the roster that was the opening day roster. Do you disagree with that, Frank?
No.
I mean, you can if you want.
No, not at all.
I think it's better than it was. I think in terms of like depth, it's the same.
I mean, you look at the bench.
But what I will not say is the current roster as it sits is not better than the playoff roster they had, even with Laureano.
I mean, you look at the bench right now, you have Luis Campusano as your backup. You have Freddie Fermin and Campusano. So that's better than Elias Diaz and Martin Maldonado.
And that's talking about a guy in Luis Campusano got no hits last year.
Your infield depth was Jose Iglesias last year. You now have an unproven, at least in the U.S., commodity with Sung-Moon Song and Will Wagner, who's not a bad player in his own right. Your outfield depth is pretty much the same. I mean, you have Bryce Johnson.
I thought Bryce Johnson was great last year.
Bryce Johnson's back. You definitely have an upgrade with Ramon Laureano starting in left field now. I would like to see maybe another outfielder. I wouldn't be too thrilled about Tirso Ornelas being in the last option.
You would not be too thrilled?
Did you know he got a series in the major leagues last year and was sent right back down. We didn't see him again.
Right.
So I would have to assume the Padres are going to go in with a bench of Campusano, Song, and Wagner with Bryce Johnson as their outfielder. I think that's a better bench than what you had last year.
To start the year, yes.
Yes, to start the year, yes.
That's what we keep saying. I mean, look at the team. Look at the opening day roster.
Bryce Johnson at this point in time is better than Jason Hayward to start off the year last year.
I would agree with that.
Gavin Sheets, now that we know what he is better than Yuli Gurriel as your DH starting last year.
If you're just going to go with like a projected 26-man roster, the catching position is better this year going into the season than last year.
Yes.
Does anybody disagree with that?
No.
I mean, some of these people might, but I think Luis Campusano and Freddie Fermin are better than Elias Diaz and Martin Maldonado. Your infield, Luis Arraez, Jake Cronenworth, Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado, Jose Iglesias, Yuli Gurriel, Gavin Sheets. That was last year's opening day infield. I think you're better off with you have Cronenworth, Bogaerts, Machado back, and Gavin Sheets. And then the other players are Will Wagner, Sung-Moon Song, and somebody else.
Mason McCoy. Is on here.
So the infield might be, in terms of depth, is not great. The bench is not better, but the starting lineup is better.
You really only have...
And your outfield of Fernando Jackson, Jason Hayward, and Brandon Lockridge is not better than your current outfield of Fernando Jackson Merrill, Ramon Laureano, and Bryce Johnson.
You really only had Jose Iglesias last year, and who knows? Sungwoo Sung could possibly run laps around Jose Iglesias. We just don't know yet.
There's a lot of untruths to that, right? Like, you don't really know. I mean, not a lot of people thought like Ha-Seong Kim was going to be that great, and then everybody was upset when Ha-Seong Kim got sent away or didn't get re-signed. Your rotation of King, Cease, Pivetta, Hart, and Vasquez, by the way, to start the season. So you got King and Pivetta back. Cease is gone. Vasquez is back. So you replace Cease and Hart with Joe Musgrove and whoever wins that battle with like J.P. Sears and those guys.
Yeah, Hart, Waldron is in that mix.
It's probably not going to be Hart. It's probably going to be like Marco Gonzalez, maybe Tristan McKenzie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if you just replace them with Marco Gonzalez and Tristan McKenzie, that might be better than Kyle Hart.
Those guys are also non-roster invitees, which is kind of perplexing because they don't have the non-roster invitees on the roster page yet.
And then your bullpen: Suarez, Adam, Estrada, Morahone, Matsui, Alec Jacob, Wandy Peralta, Omar Cruz. Your bullpen going into this season is better than last year's bullpen in the opening day. So your bullpen's better. Your starting rotation might be a push. Is your starting rotation worse than it was last year for opening day? Do we think Kyle Hart and Randy Vasquez going into the season last year is better?
I mean, losing Dylan Cease isn't great.
Right, but you get a Joe Musgrove back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right.
Because remember, Yu Darvish wasn't even part of the starting rotation last year at the beginning part of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I would say it's about even.
It's probably even, if anything. And and you don't know what you're gonna get at Tristan McKenzie or Marco Gonzalez yet. Some of those arms. But your bullpen's better, rotation's a wash, your outfield's better now. Probably not as good of an infield as you had last year because Jose Iglesias is a proven major leaguer where Sungwoo Song is not. But you could do a lot better than Yuli Gurriel.
And again, this is strictly from opening day last year, not based off of the team that went to the playoffs last year. This year's opening day roster, as it sits today on February the 3rd, is better than the team you had this time last year.
Correct. Is the roster we have putting into opening day this year better than the playoff roster last year? No. Probably not. Probably not better than the roster at the second half of the season last year with some of the guys that have departed. But to say that this team is like not going to be good because of the roster they have and they have to make all these crazy... I mean, we had a caller act like they needed to get rid of Manny and Bogarts and everybody. You're not going to get rid of those guys.
Last year's team started 7-0, remember?
That's right.
And that was with all of those problems that we've identified today as problems. They were 7-0
to start
last year.
They did start 7-0. That was before we thought that's when we thought the Braves were going to be good, though. Let's get back to the phones, 833-288-973, 833-288-973. It's got Kevin in Chula Vista. Kevin, what's going on? Kevin, are you there? Oh, no.
Yeah, hey there, Braden.
There he is. All right, there we go.
Okay, yep. Just got to walk outside here and get into the reception area so we don't lose the phone call. Great discussion this morning. You know, where I'm at right now, I don't think any of us can know with any degree of certainty what this team is going to do. There's just so many different questions to it. They could do very, very well. They've got the talent there on paper to do well. And, you know, to just strictly look at this thing on paper without putting all of the variables alongside of it is kind of a fool's errand, because this is a team that has got a lot of question marks, just like the Riddler has with Batman and Robin. I mean, you might as well walk out there with the lime green tights and the question mark on it at this point. So I'm going to wait and see and hope for the best. And, you know, don't forget, last year you got to the 90 wins, but you got to the 90 wins late in the season, and they were still being challenged right up until the last minute, practically, for that playoff spot. So that was not an automatic given. And I do respect what the caller had to say a little while ago that didn't quite articulate as well as he could have, I think, on the fact that, we had a guy like a Manny Machado that just was out of air by the time August came around. And you can't have that, not at this level anyway. So let's see what happens. Let's hope that everybody stays healthy. Let's hope that everybody performs up to the back of their baseball card, and then we'll be okay. But if you run into problems along the way, that's going to open up a whole can of worms here that, we started to face with last year. But I do agree with you on paper this year. I mean, when you look at last year, you start left field with Connor Joe and Haywood. We're a heck of a lot better in left field than we were last year at this time, as one example. So I don't miss Luis Arraez. I think Fernando is going to be the biggest benefactor from not having to have Luis Arraez come up after him, because I think a lot of what happened to Fernando last year was having Luis Arraez sitting there and not being a threat. So he got pitched around, Fernando did, and I think that accounted for a lot of those problems that people did not want to talk about. But I think the Arraez issue was a red sore on that lineup all last year.
Kevin, I appreciate the phone call. A lot of good things said. At the end of the day, it's a wait and see mode. But the whole point of the conversation is getting ready for spring training next week. Pitchers and catchers reporting 7 days out is, should you be excited about this team? Because that's where it was. It was like, prove to me that this team is, you need to be excited for this team. And if you were excited last year, you should be excited this year, because going into the season, your roster already looks better going into opening day than it did last year, Frank.
And also, if you look at it, I don't think Luis Arraez was ever really going to sign here realistically, whether or not the Padres wanted it back or not. Not just for the money factor, but he turned down, from what reports have said, he turned down multiple multi-year deals for more money because he wanted to play second base. And I don't think you could justify having Luis Arraez play second base every single day here when you have Jake Cronenworth sitting there. I don't think he was ever truly going to come back in.
I didn't think so. I don't think so either. He did not fit the current roster that the Padres had unless you traded Jake Cronenworth. But even then, is Luis Arraez an upgraded Jake Cronenworth at second base defensively? I don't think so either. New lunchtime hour. When we come back, we're broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Braden Surprenant Show continues. If you missed anything that we have said already, if you're driving around, we're talking about the promotional giveaways for the Padres here in 2026. If you want to check out the website where you can get this, is padres.com/giveaways, and it'll have the whole list. And again, if you want to buy tickets to these games, you could start going. The single game tickets are on sale on Tuesday, February 3rd. At 10 in the morning. That's the first chance that you have. Obviously, season ticket memberships have priority to do that. As we move along, we got the patriotic Aloha shirt for the day after Memorial Day. I think May 26th. So it's a Tuesday. Maybe it's coming before, but celebrate America's upcoming 250th birthday with the Padres theme patriotic Aloha shirt. Pretty nice. Got the Blue Angels on there. It's got the Padres logo. It's got the Padres military logo on a baseball. Nice little Hawaiian shirt, patriotic, against the Phillies on May 26th. Coming up on Tuesday, June 9th against the Reds. Bogey goes boom bobblehead. You got a Xander Bogaerts finishing his home run swing with his signature gray and maroon bat. So that's pretty cool bobblehead as well. It's presented by Palomar Specialty Insurance on June 9th. So Bogaerts has a bobblehead on Tuesday, June 9th. Coming up on Monday, June 22nd against the Atlanta Braves. Got the Western snapback hat. Kind of looks like a rodeo hat. It's pretty cool looking. It's got San Diego Padres in the Western font, if you will, or San Diego Padres written in Western font with the SD logo in the middle. Pretty cool looking hat right there. That's presented by Petco. First 40,000 fans in attendance will have that one. Again, all of these are for the first 40,000 fans for these, unless I say otherwise. Wednesday, July 8th, Trevor Hoffman bobblehead. He's repping the navy blue 1998 gear. Honor the Hall of Famer and Padres legendary closer with the Trevor Hoffman bobblehead. Presented by Canels. This bobblehead limited the first 40,000 fans, so it's in stride. Trevor Hoffman, kind of a classic look at bobblehead against the Diamondbacks in July. On July 12th, just for the kids, they have the Squeeze Top water bottle, which is a kids giveaway. I don't know if they have that here today because it's a kids giveaway. Again, some of these are for the first 40,000 fans. Some of them are for the first 10,000 fans. It's a kind of little water bottle for kids 14 and under. It looks like an ice cream sundae, which is pretty cool. Tuesday, July 28th. I know a lot of you guys love this one. It's presented by Soapy Joe's, the poncho. Got the San Diego Padres poncho. Looks pretty nice. I like it. I'm sure you'll see a lot of you guys repping that out there at Padre games. That's on July 28th. Bucket hats. Everybody loves the bucket hat. You got a reversible bucket hat, which you have multiple looks for. You have the Padres white home uniform version. You also have the sand away version as well with the swinging fryer on it. Multiple looks. Home and away bucket hat will be Thursday, July 30th against the Giants. A 6:40 start, first 40,000 fans. Coming up on August 10th, a superhero pocket tee presented by San Diego Community Power, which is pretty cool. Usually right after the Comic-Con road trip that the Padres have to go on. So a little bit of a superhero t-shirt. Pretty good front and back. It's got that front pocket. Small logo in the front, big logo in the back. It's good style for a t-shirt, let me tell you. Coming up on Sunday, August 23rd, it's another kids giveaway. You can check that on the website. Monday, August 24th, the next day against the Pirates, you got the Jackson Merrill robbery bobblehead. So it's Jackson Merrill robbing a home run with the blue fence right there in his home uniform. It's a pretty cool looking bobblehead. And then this is the best one. You thought you were going to give away. You thought you were going to get a secret. You thought you were going to get a secret. You thought you were going to find out about the City Connect uniforms. Well, we have the bobblehead for the City Connect uniforms. It just hasn't been painted yet. They're not going to display that until the new City Connect uniforms are out. But they have the Fernando Tatis City Connect bobblehead presented by Big Bully Turf. That will be on Tuesday, September 8th against the Washington Nationals. Dressed in the Padres City Connect 2.0, the Tatis City Connect bobblehead presented by Big Bully Turf channels Nando's flair at the plate, limited to the first 40,000 fans in attendance. Dynamic details of this bobblehead will make it a centerpiece for your collectibles. Again, we don't know what the City Connect uniforms are yet, but that is what that will look like.
Beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. We are a little bit behind on our overall schedule. So much to talk about, man. We got so much going on in the sports world still. Right now, it's February 3rd. I mean, we're closer and closer to real baseball where you really get after it. But we got college basketball. We haven't mentioned anything about college basketball today, or really yesterday for that matter. Aztecs play Wyoming tonight. That should be an easy win for San Diego State. We'll see. They need to go out and take care of business. Right now, according to Joe Lenardi's bracketology, which updates every Tuesday and Friday, so it updated today, San Diego State is the second to last team in. One spot above Texas is the last team in. As of right now, they have San Diego State playing USC in Tampa. Actually, they'd be playing in Dayton. Another first four game for the Aztecs. Let's try not to be in one of those. But they are the second to last team in right now. They got to beat Wyoming to kind of solidify that spot again. As we mentioned before, they got to go win some quad one games. But that's where it stands right now. We'll talk more about March Madness later on. That would be something, right? San Diego State going against Eric Musselman at USC. Eric Musselman, the USD Torero, who has the... I tell you what, like Eric Musselman, I don't think anybody dislikes San Diego State more than Eric Musselman does. Just like the way he acts around San Diego State is just, it's crazy to me. Like that entire thing. Was he at Arkansas when he did he was like starting to yell at some of the Aztec fans at the Maui Invitational? Was that when he was at Arkansas? I mean, get your popcorn ready if you got USC playing San Diego State in a play-in game. That'd be crazy. Augie, I'll take USC. As in you'll take them as an opponent or you'll take them beating San Diego State. I mean, that can be interpreted two different ways, man. All right. We got to get to other things that are going on in sport. We got San Diego FC playing tonight. We haven't even mentioned the fact that we had some big soccer news today here in town, but let's get to the sports thread.
You know that group chat, the one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk. Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Stop sitting on the sidelines. QC Kinetics gets you back in the game without surgery. To learn how, visit QCkinetics.com.
All right, Frank, what we got going on in the sports world? It's not Padres related.
Oh, we got a lot of football stuff going around. We got football, NBA. Roger Goodell spoke with the media yesterday at the Super Bowl, so a lot of stories coming from that. So that's where we'll be.
Number 1.
Here today, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said the league will reevaluate the Rooney Rule after this hiring cycle only saw one minority coach hired among 10 openings, with no black head coaches landing jobs. While Goodell stressed that all teams were compliant and many exceeded interview requirements, he acknowledged the results were disappointing and said the league must examine whether the current policies are meeting today's challenges. He defended the Rooney Rule as a net positive and said the accelerator program is expected to return and emphasize the need to keep improving how the NFL identifies and promotes diverse coaching talent. If teams are checking every Rooney Rule box, but the result doesn't change, is the problem the rule or the owners making the final decisions?
Well, I think the Rooney, I mean, they shouldn't even have, they shouldn't even like have to have the Rooney Rule. It should just be based on merit for everything anyway.
So again, for those of you who don't know, the Rooney Rule is you have to at least interview a minority candidate for any coaching vacancy. That's what the rule is.
Right. So they're like, are they saying it didn't work because there wasn't a minority that got hired as a head coach?
Yeah.
They're
saying that every team, Goodell said that every team complied and that every team actually exceeded what the rule was set to do. They were just disappointed in the result that none of them were hired.
Well, then why don't you just make a rule that they have to be hired? But then that would be discriminatory too. I don't. There's no answer to this except for NFL teams are going to hire the best. That's what I've seen out of a lot of professional sports. I mean, it's a tough topic of discussion, I think, but the rule is that they have to interview a minority, right?
Yep.
Is that what it is? And they did. I mean, that doesn't mean they have. It didn't say they have to hire a certain race. I mean, if there's not enough candidates, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with that. I don't think it's just. I don't think this latest coaching carousel, a minority not getting hired, is because of the Rooney Rule being bad. I just think I don't think it's the same thing.
Yeah, like Adam is saying in the chat, the pipeline isn't full enough to get those people through and into these jobs.
There's a lot of coordinators right now that are minorities. Tons of coordinators right now that are minorities. I mean, they have opportunities, but at the end of the day, these NFL teams are going to hire the best available in this latest carousel. Those are the guys that they believe are the best available.
That's pretty much how I see it as well, honestly.
Number 2.
Sticking with the NFL, Goodell said that the league has no role in the Pro Football Hall of Fame voting and expressed confidence that Bill Belichick will be eventually inducted into the Hall despite not receiving enough votes in his first year of eligibility. Speculation has centered on the crowded ballot and lingering effects of Spygate, but Goodell called Belichick's resume spectacular. Speaking at the Super Bowl, Goodell also noted that there have been no formal talks about an 18-game season, downplayed concerns about political statements during the halftime show, and announced a new Paul J. Tagliabue NFL Academic Excellence Award. Should off-field controversies factor into the Hall of Fame voting at all, or is the on-field resume so overwhelming that it shouldn't be debated?
I'm done with the Hall of Fame. I don't care.
I agree.
I've the NFL or all of these. This is what happened with Bill Belichick is the big reason. Did a rant on this already.
Yes,
it's a big reason why I think pro sports Hall of Fames are a joke, and why I don't want to pay too much attention to it. I mean, I guess if in 30 years when I'm like 60 or older, am I gonna like bitch and moan about it? And like I feel like that's for like old sports fans. I don't care who gets in the Hall of Fame. I really don't. I don't care. Go ahead, put somebody in there. The process is stupid. The whole thing is stupid. There's players in there that use the benefit of jumping into the media to get into the Hall of Fame. I think it's politics, semantics. I think it's a joke. I don't really have an opinion on how the process is because I think the whole thing is a joke. It's like it's a museum. Cool. Like I don't know.
What about the other part of that there were no formal talks about an 18-game season just yet?
That's all just BS. It's just like that's just like corporate speak, right? Well, we haven't formally met or discussed this. What does formally mean? Like, did they have to be in a? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
They didn't dress up enough.
Like, it's not a formal. You could go like all these different ways, right?
They talked about it in shorts and a polo on the golf course. They didn't wear suits in an office.
Yeah. Like to say, I mean, that is just a corporate answer from Roger. Most of the answers that Roger Goodell gives during his little meet with the media thing on Super Bowl week is corporate answers that don't actually answer anything. He's like a politician.
Kind of is. He's representative of all 32 teams in the league.
Number 3.
With 3 days left before the NBA trade deadline, Giannis Antetokounmpo's trade talks have intensified as the Bucks have begun submitting counter offers and actively engaging with interested teams. Milwaukee's currently sitting at 18-29, and 12th place in the East is seeking a blue chip young player and or significant draft capital, with the Heat, Timberwolves, Warriors, and Knicks among the most aggressive suitors. Giannis, averaging 28, 10, and 5.6 on 64% shooting, has been sidelined by a calf injury and has privately signaled for months now that it may be time to move on. We've already seen a couple of big trades in the trade deadline world for the NBA. Jaden Ivey and Mike Conley going to the Bulls as part of a 3-team trade. If you are the Bucks, do you pull the trigger now before the deadline or wait until the offseason to maximize leverage on a potential trade?
I'd wait. Unless, I mean, where the Bucks are. Where are the Bucks in the standings right now?
12th in the East.
No,
18 and
kind of hanging
18
around.
and 29. They're 11 games under.
I'd wait for whatever the opportunity is to get the most back. That's what I would do if I'm the Bucks. If you really want to part ways with your franchise player, I mean, he doesn't want that, right? I mean, he wants to go play for a competitor right now, so I'm sure he's going to put pressure on you to make a trade. But I would kind of wait.
I would as well. I mean, I shudder to think because he wants, from what we saw in the offseason, he wants to be a Knick. He said it. I shudder to think what they are going to trade to make that happen. Because the last time the Knicks did this, it was Carmelo Anthony, and they were on a rocket ship trajectory with Raymond Felton, who was an all-star, getting 20 assists a game. They ended up trading him in that deal. He was god-awful. Amari Stoudemire, who was getting like 30 points a game thanks to Raymond Felton just dishing him the ball, completely fell off as far as his productivity. So I'm hesitant to see what they are going to give up if the Knicks want to get Giannis Antetokounmpo that badly.
Number 4.
This is going to be the last one for today. U.S. coach Mauricio Pochettino shut down questions about World Cup ticket prices, saying it's neither his nor the players' role to comment on FIFA's decisions. Responding to Timothy Weah's criticism that the tickets are too expensive for many fans, Pochettino emphasized that the players and coaches should focus strictly on performance on the field, not off-field issues like pricing. With FIFA charging premium prices and expecting heavy demand, Pochettino says it's up to FIFA, not the team, to explain and justify those decisions as the U.S. prepares for a slate of friendlies ahead of its World Cup opener against Paraguay. Should star players like Timothy Weah speak up for fans about high ticket prices, or is Pochettino right that players should stay strictly in their lane and let FIFA take the heat?
I mean, I don't know. That's kind of a tough spot to be in if you're a player. I mean, at the end of the day, they can. The reality is I bet you none of them really care, like how much the ticket prices are. I mean, to an extent. I mean, they get paid to play soccer, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, in the general, I mean, aside from just being virtuous to everybody about, hoping that everybody can go join. I mean, the reality is that's not how these leagues and stuff make money. And it's going to be you're going to be like upsetting the people that pay your check. I find it like a place that they probably shouldn't say on that. I mean, I don't know what the solution to that would be if you're a soccer player. Like, do you think the Padres would like it if Fernando was complaining about ticket prices?
I mean, if I were Timothy Weah and I was forced to make a comment on that, I would say something along the lines of, look, I know it's not ideal. I sympathize with you, but we have nothing to do with that. That's FIFA's
You can't
deal.
complain about it, right? Like it's like working at any place. It's like you can complain to the employees of a certain place about the price. They don't make the prices.
Yeah, no, that's FIFA's deal. I'm sorry. I sympathize, but we don't have a say in that.
You know what it is? It's people pay what it's worth.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you don't like it, don't pay it, and maybe the prices will go down. But somebody's willing to pay that kind of money. That's the deal. That's the whole part of it.
I love going to games. I really do. I love going to San Diego FC games. I love going to Padre games. I love it. I enjoy it better on TV because I see everything. I see more when I'm watching it on TV. I don't like going to games and sitting down on the field level because I miss stuff. When I was paying to go to games, I would sit in section 300 up at the top at Petco Park so I can see everything. So I'm not missing anything. So I can feel like I'm watching it on TV. I'm not one of those guys who is to sit there and be in the best seat because the best seat's at home, honestly. So, I mean, it's great for an experience. The World Cup, going to a World Cup match, it's great for the experience. If you're going there to strictly watch the game, just stay at home, honestly.
So most of the diehard fans do it anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, like the ticket prices for like every sport right now is really high. I mean, I was thinking about going to the Ducks game on Sunday against the Knights. No, I was thought about going on Sunday.
On Sunday.
It was like $250 to get in the building.
That's obscene.
I'm like, I'm not paying that
for
to go
where?
watch. It was at the Honda Center.
No, I mean, like where in like
anywhere,
down on
like
the
just
ice?
Anywhere.
Or?
Like it was like $150 to sit in the fourth level.
Jeez.
They sold out the game. They were talking about how like the sellout for Orange County. I guess because they were playing the first place Knights. The game was on ESPN. Maybe that's why it was so expensive. Tickets tonight are like $45 to get in.
Well, yeah,
because I was looking at tonight's game too, because I wanted to go up to Anaheim and watch this team play. I mean, this is the last game. I would think today would be more expensive than Sunday because it's the last time to watch the team play before they go out to.
It's also middle of the week against a blah opponent, so you do have to take that.
Blah opponent. You're competing with the Kraken for the final wild card spot right now. The same amount of points. You want to talk about hockey points and how jacked up that is? I mean, say what you want about the Kraken. They have the same
tomorrow.
They got the same amount of points as the Ducks.
That's also you're talking about the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, they've been in the Stanley Cup race since their existence. They've won it. That's like complaining that the Padres ticket prices are higher against the Dodgers, honestly.
Yeah, but that's not like is that a big rivalry, the Ducks and the Kings?
No, I'm
Knights,
just saying it's the quality of opponent. Like you'd expect Yankee ticket prices to be high. You expect Red Sox tickets to be high. You expect Phillies tickets to be high.
You're talking about an opponent in the Knights that if you factor in
high quality
overtime losses would have a losing record right now. But they're 25-30.
It's the name.
It's
the name, the Golden Knights. It's the quality of opponent.
I don't care who they're playing. $250 to watch an NHL
obscene.
Regular season game is not
yes.
justified for anybody. It could be the greatest Montreal Canadiens team you've ever seen in your life. I'm not paying $250 to watch them play on a Sunday.
I actually would, because they'd have to bring a couple of those guys back from the dead. So I could see paying the high price for that one.
There's not a single team in hockey that's worth paying. There's not a single team in baseball that's worth paying that kind of money to see for a regular season game. Yeah, I watched it on TV. I know that. I mean, it's free on Victory Plus.
If the Islanders next month are $250 to get in the door,
They're not. It's probably like $40.
I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be very, very upset, but I'm also going to be very proud.
Ducks won that game, by the way. But anyway, like ticket prices in general for all this stuff it's to the point where it's like going to Disneyland. I mean, you go for the one-time experience and it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need to go every single time.
But if you're going to a game, especially in this day and age, if you're going to a game, it's a social event. You're not going to watch the game. You're going for the atmosphere.
Well,
that's what you're going for.
But they make it so great, right? So like you go and you, to me, like when I go to a sporting event and I'm paying to go and I'm not working it with a credential, I'm taking like the whole day.
Yeah, it's an event.
I'm enjoying it. I'm going to spend extra money. I mean, it's the same thing with like going to Disneyland. The people that go on like annual pass holders probably hold off on like a lot of stuff compared to the people that go once a year and just kind of have a great time the one time. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. When we come back, we got other things we got to talk about that we didn't get to. And an interesting story that I want to bring up. It involves motorsports, but it also involves something that we talked about in the sports thread. We'll get to that when we come back. 12:25 on a Tuesday. That show's just flying by again today. Remember to listen to us at 1 o'clock for the announcement of today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a future Padres game with all the fan staff, or just your name at 97tothefansd.com/biggest fan, in order to potentially have your name called. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. Live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3. The Fan. We were talking about everything under the sun with a lot of Padres baseball talk too today as well. We are broadcasting live for the Bill House Studios. We know how, and I do want to remind everybody, for everybody that's joined us today, they join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorney. He's helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime. Since 2010, visit davidpshapirolaw.com. We're going to dive into San Diego FC in just a little bit. They open up tonight. We did have an announcement in soccer that we're going to talk about later on today as well. We got so much more to unpack in today's show, and I feel like we're going to have to do it more tomorrow. With everything that we've talked about today. We do need a contestant for the Midday Sports Standoff. If you want to try to take me down in some sports trivia, you'd be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize, 2 tickets to see Guns N' Roses at Snapdragon Stadium on September 2nd. Tickets are at Ticketmaster.com. That's coming up in the next segment, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. All right, so as we usually do, Mondays is softball night, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So we won last night, Frank.
Attaboy.
Defensively, on one of my games, the co-ed game, we won on defense on a walk-off. How about that?
Nice. Let's hold. Practice 1-2, so.
Yeah, they won on Sunday. Now, that being said, how does that happen? How do you win on defense in a walk-off?
Play at the plate?
Kind of. We had a 12-4 lead going into the game, going into the last inning. 12-4 lead into the last inning. We are the home team. Okay. We had multiple opportunities to get out of the inning. In fact, I had a great throw to my guy Nick as they get a hit to me with 1 out, and the guy tries to go first to third, and I hose this guy. It was like perfect throw, 1 hop, chest high to make a perfect tag on a guy that's not sliding.
Mm-hmm.
Nick goes the tag, ball goes behind him.
Oh.
And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. Come on, Nick.
Catch ball, apply tag.
He had, that was not his best.
Tag, catch ball.
Not his best inning. So anyway, we fast forward. It's 12-9 now. It's 12-9, and we have 2 outs. Just got to get that last out, man. Now, in co-ed softball, Frank, I don't know if you know this rule, at least in the ASA rules that we play over at the Poway Sportsplex. If you're a guy and a girl bats behind you and you walk, you get 2 bases. And then the girl can theoretically take first if she would like.
Okay.
So it's the bottom of their order. And their leadoff is a girl that plays, I think, at Palomar. She's good. The guy doesn't even take the bat off the shoulder. And our pit, I'm just like, just give him a cookie.
Yeah, he's not going to swing. He's trying to get 2 on. He's not going to swing.
3 straight balls. Walks.
Oh.
Bases loaded, 12-9, 2 outs, and they do the double walk. So that brings the tying run to third base and the winning run to second. And it's now 12-11 with 2 outs in the inning. The girl comes up.
An inning in which you were leading.
12-4.
12-4.
It's the last inning.
Into.
12-4. Last inning. We've had multiple chances to make outs, too. Errors all over the place. Fly ball to right. My guy, Juan, takes a peek. He's in right center. Takes a peek. Right fielder. She's not moving. Juan frantically tries to run underneath the ball at the last second. He dives and does this weird slide, and the ball kicks out. Both runs come across the score. I'm like, we just blew a 12-4 lead. Terrible. To a team that had not been able to. We had a no-hitter through 2 innings.
Stranger things have happened.
But wait, The guy at third base. Now in softball, nowadays for safety reasons, especially co-ed, you don't touch home plate. You touch the line outside.
Yes, yeah. You don't go to home. You go behind it.
The guy at third base touched home plate, which means he's out. And so we thought we gave up a 12-4 game to lose. And in fact, it was a walk-off winner for us because the first guy touched home. He's out. So the second run that came in doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
If the second guy would have touched home plate, we would have tied. Instead, the first guy does, and we win.
Go Aztecs. And you celebrate that?
I thought it was hilarious. We should have been out of the inning multiple times. They were poor Rick, dude, the umpire. They were just yelling at him. He doesn't get a warning first. Like, it's his first time.
Bro.
It's like, tell him the rules.
Exactly.
It's not his fault. Those are the rules. He stepped on the plate. So anyway, that was like the highlight of the night last night in terms of softball. We always go to In-N-Out after.
I saw the picture that Crum posted. You looked wiped.
Huh?
You looked wiped out. You looked like you were
Tired.
about to fall asleep in that booth.
It was like 11 o'clock by the time we got to In-N-Out. But anyway, here's where I heard this story. Now tell me if you think this is justification.
Okay.
Or if this is insane. Okay. I think it's insane. It's our guy, Nicky P.
Okay.
Okay. Now you're a motorsports guy, right? We do our motorsports
Allegedly,
update
yes.
on Tuesdays. We'll see that tomorrow. I'm sure he'll be excited for upcoming races. So Nicky P, he's a big motorsports guy.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Anaheim 1 Supercross.
Mm-hmm.
He went to San Diego. He went to Anaheim 2. And he said he's going to Phoenix on the weekend. Because we asked him, like, are you going to the ultimate Frisbee thing that we do on Saturday mornings at our gym? And he was like, well, I got to drive out to Phoenix going to Supercross. And I'm like, you're driving out to Phoenix, go to the Supercross? Okay. That's kind of, really? He's driving out to Phoenix to the Supercross in his Tesla. And he's going to go to the Supercross. And then he's going to drive home after the Supercross ends. He is commuting 5.5 hours.
Well,
on Saturday, he's going to wake because he was like, well, I could probably still do Frisbee. Like, I'm going to leave, race starts at 5, so I can leave around, 11-ish or 12. And then I'm going to go. And then he's driving home after the Supercross. That he is going to be in the car for 12 hours to watch the Supercross in Phoenix, in which we asked, well, why didn't you fly? He's got an irrational fear of flying. Okay, fair enough. He's going to be, you're going to be in an airplane for like 10 minutes. It's a 45-minute flight.
You're not even going to get all the way up.
No.
You're going to get halfway up and you're like, oh, wait, we got to go down now. Hold on.
Is that crazy? I was like, Nick, it's probably safer to fly in this instance than it is to drive 5.5 hours, go to the Supercross, and then drive home 5.5 hours. You're a motorsports guy. You doing that for a race? You doing that don't you want to go to NASCAR in Phoenix? Is that what you're going to do?
Yes, I do want to do that.
He needs to be back on Sunday because he wants to be back home. We're doing something for the Super. He wants to be back in time to watch the Super Bowl.
So what I did was last year what I did was I wanted to see if I could make it for the Xfinity race. I didn't because I had to be here to do a Padres spring training game and I left straight from the game. So I had the hotel, stayed there, and then went to the track at like 8 o'clock in the morning because I was too excited to sleep, and then went home right after. That was a long day.
That is a long day.
That was a very, very long day. Nick, I don't know how you're going to do it, my guy. I appreciate it. I support it. That is a little crazy, especially in a Tesla. When you
does it drive itself?
Not even does it drive itself.
It's got to charge.
It's got to charge.
How long does he get there and back with the charge? How long does the charge take?
Are there charging ports in
Dateland?
No, it's at the.
It doesn't matter. He's got to have
it's at the Cardinals Stadium.
He's got to be able to find charging stations for on the way out in between. My question is though, like,
my point,
would you
my
do
point
that
of saying that is, it's like there's not going to be charging points at the stadium, so it's not like you can get a cheeky charge. It's not like you can get a cheeky charge in.
Did you call that a cheeky charge?
Yeah,
charging while you're doing something else.
Well, yeah, you're sneaking a charge in. Yes.
Yeah. How are you sneaking? Okay. You can have a nice date shake for sure, Nick. My question, like, this is the same because it takes about the same amount of time to drive to Tucson. This would be like me, because the game would start at like 7. This would be like me leaving work an hour early on a day, driving to Tucson to watch TCU play Arizona in basketball at the McHale Center, and then driving home that night so I can go to work the next day.
Yeah, State Farm Stadium in Glendale does not have dedicated charging points on site.
That seems like a misuse of parking lot space then. Would you do that for any event? Commute 5.5 hours and then 5.5 hours back for an event?
It depends on the event. For Supercross, probably not.
His reasoning was, it's the only time I get to see him in person until, for a while. And then my other buddy was like, well, like when? Like January? He's like May. Sorry, May? You can't wait till May? They come back to Paula in May. The guy loves the guy loves motorsports.
So do I. I watch Supercross every single weekend.
I love TCU football. You know what I'm not doing? Driving to Tucson and back in the same day to watch them play the Wildcats. I'm not doing that. My other friend's a Washington State alum. He's not driving from San Diego to Fresno to watch the Cougs play football and then back.
That is a little rough.
That is dedication.
That is a little rough. Free Monster Energies at the race for the ride. Oh, gosh.
Come on, Nick.
Brother, you're going to have to
we're going to talk him off the ledge here.
Brother, you're going to have to stay awake for the 2 hours it's going to take to charge in the middle of nowhere.
Charging is where I can refill on coffee. Baker, California. I think it's kind of nuts.
Brother,
833-288-0973. 833-288-0973.
Yeah, go Aztecs. You are driving yourself to the couch to tune in for TCU football.
I mentioned it today. I'm like, you do know the Supercross is on television.
It is. It's not. See, it's not on television. It's on Peacock.
Oh, they moved it to Peacock. Whatever. Yeah. A guy that watches the Supercross this religiously probably invests in Peacock.
Would hope
at this point in time. I just found it to be, you know what? We'll check it on Nick. We'll check it on Nick on Monday.
That is a little much, Nick. My suggestion would be go have fun. If you want to drive back, stop in Yuma and then finish the drive home. So this way you're at least partly there on the way back.
Or he goes to Frisbee, we tire him out, and then he ends up just sleeping on the couch all afternoon, watching on TV.
No, he's already got the tickets. So if you've already invested it,
how much are
I don't know.
Supercross tickets? They can't be that expensive. We can check that later. We're way overdue for a break. When we come back, contestant for Midday Sports Standoff. We'll do the Midday Sports Standoff. We'll talk about San Diego FC in the 1 o'clock hour as well. We got a special guest at 1 o'clock, part of our 30 teams in 30-ish days, all coming up in the next hour or so on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97 to the Fan. All right, it's that time again. Time to get to the midday sports standoff. If a contestant can take me down in some sports trivia today, they will be qualified for a chance to win our new grand prize. 2 tickets to see Guns N' Roses at Snapdragon Stadium on September 2nd. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Let's get to it, Frank.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, he's no good. Are you kidding me, Mr.
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, who we got playing today?
We have Landry in Poway playing today. How's it going today, Landry?
Going pretty well.
All right, so today's question, I think this could be a pretty simple one. There are 8 states in which multiple MLB teams play in.
Oh,
what are
nice.
those 8 states? And before we get into it, because I know you're going to have a problem with this if I don't say it.
Need disclaimers, of course.
Maryland does not count because Washington, D.C. is not technically Maryland. So, no, you will not get credit for Maryland.
Yeah, they're the District of Columbia.
Yes. So just clarifying that out there right now. 8 states that have multiple MLB teams that play in them. Got it, Landry?
Got it.
All right. Your first guess is?
Started off with California.
California has the most. They have 5.
Illinois.
Illinois with the Cubbies and the White Sox.
Florida.
Florida, Marlins and Rays.
So we have California, Illinois, and Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Texas.
Astros and Rangers.
New York.
The Mets and the other team.
Excuse me?
It's the Mets and the other team.
All right, what are we at here? How many we have off the list?
You have 5 off the list. You guys have been flying through this one. There's only 3 left.
Only 3 left. One of them is the great state of Ohio. Cleveland and Cincinnati.
Yes, thank you very much. Landry, if you get this right, you tie, which means you win. Well, you guarantee yourself a tie.
Pennsylvania.
Pirates and the Phillies. Yes, Pennsylvania. So, Landry, hang on the line. You'll be qualified for a chance to win a pair of tickets to see Guns N' Roses coming up in September. Braden, want to finish this off?
That's the last one, Missouri. Where do the Chiefs play, dude? Missouri.
That would be it.
For now. Are the Royals going to move
right
to Kansas
now,
too?
For right now, that's where they are.
Are the Royals going to move to Kansas?
Clean sweep today on this wonderful Adrian Gonzalez Day.
Adrian Gonzalez Day.
Happy Adrian Gonzalez Day to all who.
Fernando Tatis Jr. Day.
Yes.
Phil Nevin Day.
Phil Nevin Day.
It's great. It's great. Oh, we went through that one pretty fast.
Nice and easy today.
Yeah.
Maryland.
We got some time.
Greg Vaughn Day.
I wasn't going to guess Maryland because the Nationals play in the District of Columbia,
which is not the same as Maryland.
No, it's not. It's its own thing.
Clay, well, thank you for recognizing Ohio.
The great state of Ohio. There you go. Shane Mack Day. Greg Vaughn Day. Go Aztecs is on it.
Again, this will be a recurring bit thanks to MLB trying to shove Shohei Ohtani down our throats even more, making January 7th Shohei Ohtani Day.
So stupid. Let's get out to Ron in La Mesa. Ron, what's going on, man?
Hey, I actually knew those questions. That would have been fun. And also, Braden, I was smart enough not to drive to Tucson to watch K-State play. So take my word for it. If your team's playing in Arizona, don't drive. They're going to get blasted.
Well, basketball for sure. Basketball for sure.
Dude,
yeah. Hey, I got my Arizona Wildcat shirt on right here. as a matter of fact.
Okay,
there you go.
hold on.
Oh, that's
here.
right. You got dual citizenship.
I got dual citizenship in Arizona and TCU. Arizona Wildcats
pretty
are
cool.
out there. Yeah, they're pretty badass, Ron.
Hey guys, I heard you earlier talking about the Padres and everything, and this isn't a popular thought, but the one main reason that the Padres are legitimate today, besides an ownership, can you guess? Yes, you're correct. The Chargers left San Diego. Believe it or not, in my opinion, the Chargers leaving San Diego just boomed the Padres. Really, in fact, now we're one team or one city pony. And so management was smart enough to realize this, and they got the public involved, brought in a new team. So as much as I hate to give the Chargers any credit for anything, period, except for, I don't even go there. I didn't give them any credit. But anyway, thank you, Chargers, for making the Padres legitimate. All right, boys, talk to you later.
All right, see you, Ron. I like that dual citizenship. I got to start dropping that on people with multiple college teams. I got dual citizenships in Tucson, in Knoxville, in Fort Worth, and in High Point, as well as San Diego, of course, the Aztecs. The 5 college teams I root for. The High Point, I mean, that's it's tough to watch sometimes. But you know what? The Panthers competing for an NCAA tournament spot. Expect to be good in baseball again. Take that for what it's worth. They play in the Big South, which is where Mason Miller played in, Gardner-Webb. High Point, where Will Myers grew up. There's your fun fact of the day. Furniture capital of the world, High Point. You want any of the other fun facts about High Point, North Carolina?
It's in North Carolina.
Yeah, there you go. It's off to a good spot. We had news today, soccer news. Do you want to get us the soccer news today before we talk about San Diego FC in the next hour?
We did have some soccer news today, and that is that Snapdragon Stadium will be one of the sites that will be hosting the Olympic Games in 2028. Reading directly off of the
press release,
97.3 The Fan website. No, I'm a company guy. I go to our.
Here comes Big Ten PR Frank.
The LA 28 Olympics and Paralympic Games announced the venues for 6 sites to host matches during the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles on today. San Diego Snapdragon Stadium was one of the 6 venues, bringing Olympic competition back to San Diego for the first time since 1984. The other sites that will host Olympic soccer in 2028 will be New York, Columbus, Ohio, Nashville, Tennessee, St. Louis, Missouri, and San Jose, with the final stage match being held at the Rose Bowl. Registration for tickets.
I think it's great. We get to host the Olympics.
Yeah,
in some capacity.
The LA Olympics taking place in Nashville.
I mean, softball is in Oklahoma City. It's not crazy.
It's the American Olympics then.
It's
not the LA
not the LA Olympics, even though most of the stuff's in LA. Yeah, they didn't have a softball complex, so they had to go to Oklahoma for it because Norman's got like the best softball complex known to man. So they're going to be playing that in OKC, but they're really going to be playing in Norman, which is basically outside of OKC. And then they have the canoe events in Oklahoma as well.
So they'll be playing the games at New York Stadium, which I believe is going to be the new home for New York City FC, just outside of Citi Field.
Okay.
Where they're building that. The home for the Columbus Crew, the home for the Nashville SC, St. Louis City, where the San Jose Earthquakes play, and then Snapdragon Stadium. So they're all MLS venues. All currently, well, all but one currently in use, currently built MLS venues.
I'm glad we get to host. It's great. It's great news. Since we don't get to host the World Cup or anything like that, we didn't build a big enough stadium, but that's neither here nor there. When talking about the infrastructure that is in San Diego, don't get Chris Ello on the bike lanes. Don't get Chris Ello on the bike lanes. We also had another update. They announced the dates now for the college football playoff. Maybe that'll be in one of our updates that we'll do throughout the week. When we come back, we are starting our 30 teams in 30-ish days, and we're going to start with the Baltimore Orioles. Quick preview of what the Orioles are expected to do this season when we come back. And then later on, we've got a early Super Bowl preview and San Diego FC in action tonight. All coming up next in the final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show. There's a look at some of them. We're going to have Frank kind of walk around as I kind of go through what some of these promotional items are. But the Padres today announced their 2026 promotional schedule, including giveaways, theme games, and events. Every homestand, you can get single game tickets for the 2026 regular season home games on sale on Tuesday, February 3rd. So you got to still wait until next Tuesday at 10 in the morning Pacific time by visiting www.padres.com. Season ticket members have priority access to tickets and enjoy the best available seats. Season ticket memberships have sold out for the fourth consecutive season due to franchise record demand, and therefore all remaining tickets for the 2026 season are available on a single game basis. So these will be, you could buy tickets starting on February 3rd. There are 15 all-fan giveaways planned for the 2026, highlighted by fan favorites such as high-quality wearables, stylish hats, and bobbleheads, all of which take place during select home games throughout the season, limited to the first 40,000 fans in attendance. There are 3 different styles of hats this year, and there's a bunch of other stuff. We're going to get to that, but we'll just kind of go through the beginning of the season to the end. And see if you can follow along here, Frank, with what we got. But the first giveaway will be on Friday, March 27th. That's the day after opening day. That's the Tony Gwynn opening day. There's going to be an opening series scarf presented by Sequan Casino Resort. Start the season in style with a Cozy Padres opening series scarf, which looks nice. It's great. Nice little scarf. At the beginning games, the early games at Petco Park are usually kind of chilly. But that's a good-looking scarf right there. So that will be against the Tigers on Friday, March 27th. On Monday, March 30th, this one's super cool. On Monday, March 30th, they have the night. I'm a sucker for 1998 stuff. They have a 1998 belt bag, which is perfect for it's a bag that you could bring into the ballpark, which is awesome. I know my mom's got a bag like that. My girlfriend's got a bag like that. There's a lot of different. My sister's got a bag like that, and a lot of people use them to get in the stadiums, but now you can have a Padres one, which is great. So 1998 colors too. So they've seen they've debuted the original one that they had. They've had a City Connect one, and now they got a Padres 1998 belt bag. So that will be pretty cool for everybody out there. That's Monday, March 30th. On to Thursday, April 9th against the Rockies will be the Manny's Hot Corner bobblehead. So it's Manny Machado playing third base. They got the flames around the side. It's presented by McDonald's. First 40,000 in attendance. Display-worthy collectible features Machado at third base and is a keepsake for all the faithful. That's a nice little. I like the little bottom there. That's pretty cool. What is that? Is that the armband? Pink armband? Yeah, it looks nice. Again, if you want to go back, you can rewatch this on YouTube and take a look at everything in the on the deal here. Let's move on to the next one. Wednesday, April 15th versus Seattle Mariners. The puffer vest presented by State Farm. That's that vest right there on the table. That's pretty nice. The best part about this is, like, when I was a kid, like, some of the giveaways were kind of lame, but now they have made them so legit. I mean, that's a nice little vest right there. It's presented by State Farm. That will be, again, on April 15th against the Seattle Mariners, a Wednesday game at 6:40. Not a Wednesday day game. It's a Wednesday night game. First 40,000 fans get that. Against the Cubs, there's a waffle beanie presented by Motorola Razr. Waffle beanies on April 28th against the Cubs. Top off your fit with a soft waffle beanie made for night games at the ball and a ballpark photo op. This item is limited to the first 40,000 fans in attendance as well. So that's pretty cool. I like the bobblehead. The one they had last year was cool too, but the beanie, the one they had last year was cool too. First bobblehead for Mason Miller, Thursday, May 7th, at least in a Padres uniform. They got the Mason Miller bobblehead. Watch your speed. Elite pitching with a bobblehead that nods to Miller's clutch moments on the mound. He's got fire coming off of the baseball on his delivery, which is super cool. You can bring that a little bit closer to the camera if you want. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So Mason Miller bobblehead giveaway Thursday, May 7th. And it's that time again. 1 o'clock. You know what that means, Frank?
30 teams in 30-ish days.
Not yet.
Oh.
Got to get to the other pressing need. That'd be the biggest fan.
Got it.
He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Back to the Braden Surprenant Show. Setting number one sports station 97.3. The Fan. Let's get to today's biggest fan. And congratulations to today's biggest fan, Eva Dano in Escondido. Eva Dano in Escondido. Give us a call within the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, and you'll qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game with all the fan staff later this season, catered by Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine. Remember to register your name at 97 through thefansd.com/biggest fan. Eva Dano, DANO in Escondido. You have 10 minutes. All right, let's get to our next pressing thing. We are, as we get closer to opening day, as we go through spring training, we are going to give you 30 teams in 30-ish days, kind of getting a breakdown of what's going on throughout the country in Major League Baseball. We're going to start with the Grapefruit League and work our way back to the West Coast to the Cactus League later on in this particular month or so of segments. And as we get ready for the 2026 baseball season, we start things off with Jake Rill, who is a MLB reporter for the Baltimore Orioles in terms of MLB.com. He covers the Baltimore Orioles for MLB.com. Jake Rill joins the show today to give us a preview of the Baltimore Orioles going into 2026. Jake, what's going on? How's your Tuesday going?
Hey, it's going well. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining us as we get a little preview of what's going on the East Coast. I mean, when talking about this division in the American League East, obviously Baltimore needed to make some improvements to a team that had a lot of young, great players. The Blue Jays were just in the World Series. They made some splashes during the offseason. Obviously, it's always difficult with the Yankees and the Red Sox. But going into the offseason, Baltimore needed to check off some boxes, and I think they did. How would you evaluate how the Orioles did this offseason?
Yeah, I think their offseason has been very good. I'm not sure it's complete yet, just because I think they still could get some help on the pitching side. So, if you're grading on a scale, I think it's a strong B+, A- with the potential to maybe even be a perfect offseason by Mike Elias if he's able to make these last move or two that I think would really complete the team. But obviously, the big swing was signing Pete Alonso to this 5-year, $155 million deal. We hadn't seen the Orioles do anything like that during the Mike Elias era. They had not shown a willingness to spend that much money. They got this new ownership group in 2024 that said they were going to come in and be willing to spend money, and then they, put their money where their mouth was, figuratively, this offseason by bringing in Alonso. But like you said, they did a good job of plugging some of these other holes. They needed more right-handed power. Obviously, Alonso helps with that, but they also got Taylor Ward in the trade with the Angels. He's going to be a big piece in the corner outfield. They trade for Shane Baz to help the rotation, the high upside guy there. They brought back Zach Eflin to get some rotation depth. They signed Ryan Helsley to that 2-year, $28 million deal. He's going to be the closer while Felix Bautista rehabs again, coming back from that shoulder surgery. So they really checked off a lot of these boxes, and it's a lot stronger team on paper now than it was at the beginning of the offseason, at the end of last season. Like I said, though, they could still use that frontline starter. I don't think Shane Baz necessarily qualifies as that. I think they could still use a guy like Framber Valdez or Zach Gallen or some of those guys, one of those guys that's out there still in the market. And I think that would really take this offseason just to, almost a perfect level by Mike Elias.
We're talking about the Baltimore Orioles here on the Braden Surprenant Show on our 30 clubs in 30-ish days, getting you ready for Padres baseball and the 2026 regular season. We're talking with Jake Rill, who covers the Baltimore Orioles for MLB.com. You mentioned the pitching already with some of the additions that they have added, and they still need to add to the starting pitching. That's kind of been the biggest question mark for Baltimore the last couple of years. They have this young group of players, very top high farm system for the last couple of years that have now starting to creep into the major league level. But from the pitching side of things, after some of these improvements and probably still need another starting pitcher, how do they stack up in their division right now when it comes to the pitching in a ballpark that's obviously very hitter friendly?
Yeah, I think they could still, improve the rotation is the big part. Like you said, it's been kind of an area that hasn't really complemented the position player side of the roster for much of these last few years. They traded for Corbin Burns prior to the 24 season, but it kind of had the feel of that being a one-year thing. It never really felt like he was going to sign a long-term deal to stay in Baltimore, and it would have taken a lot to try to convince him to not go to Arizona where he has a house and just wanted to be. Grayson Rodriguez never quite lived up to his potential. He had a lot of injuries he was dealing with. That's why they flipped him for Taylor Ward this offseason. Just it never materialized. I think on the pitching side, they still need to make a big swing or two to kind of stack up in this division, just because, like you said, this division is so strong. I mean, you could see pretty much any of these 5 teams winning, maybe not the Rays, but definitely the other 4 winning the division this year. And I look more toward the postseason too. Like, do they have the starting staff if they do get into the postseason that can match up? And I'm not sure they do. I mean, Kyle Bradish is a top tier starter when healthy, but he didn't make a lot of starts last year coming off the Tommy John surgery. He might have a little bit of an innings limit this year just as he kind of gets eased back into it. Trevor Rogers was really good last year, but that kind of came out of nowhere and nobody expected it. Is he going to be able to repeat that this year? The Orioles think he is, but if not, then their starting staff could have a bigger hole than they expected. The other guys are kind of more depth, mid-tier guys. Eflin, when healthy, can be really good. Dean Kramer can log innings, but he's never going to be lower than like a sub-4 ERA. So I think if they want a starting rotation that's going to stack up and one that's going to be able to carry them through the postseason if they're able to get there, I think they need a bigger name, a bigger arm to slot into the top.
On top of like all the young talent, like from a position player standpoint, I mean, they do have a lot of players and there's only a certain amount of spots, obviously, with the major league roster. Baltimore hasn't been one of those teams that has, traded away from their prospect capital in order to get, major additions to the major league roster, as, maybe to a level like the Padres have done with AJ Preller, just completely depleting the farm system to try to facilitate the major league roster. As these guys develop and turn into everyday players for Baltimore, are they going to have enough spots for these players? And do you see some maybe trades on the horizon just by them keeping a lot of these guys, through the last couple of years?
Yeah, I definitely think there could be some trades coming. I mean, I think first base is obviously the big one. A guy who fits that mold that you're talking about is Kobe Mayo. I just don't know really how he fits into this roster now with Pete Alonso here and Ryan Mountcastle still in the mix. Like, where's Mayo going to play? First base is obviously his best position. Third base he struggled at. They've talked about maybe a corner outfield role for him, but it's never actually something he's actually worked on. A guy like Heston Kjerstad, he's still in the organization. There's not really room for him in the corner outfield, especially now that Dylan Beavers has arrived in the majors. Tyler O'Neill's still under contract for 2 more years. So there's definitely some of these former top prospect guys who just haven't really put it together all at the big league level yet. Kobe Mayo started to at the end of last season, which I think maybe could raise his trade value a little bit, more so than like a Heston Kjerstad. But I think it could make sense to try to flip some of these guys for pitching. The farm system really is kind of reloaded just because they had so many picks early in the draft last year, and then they were sellers at the trade deadline as they moved all these guys, O'Hearn, Laureano, Cedric Mullins. They really kind of replenished the farm system with some strong talent, some top prospects that they were able to get from other organizations. And we've already kind of seen a little bit this offseason, the Shane Boss trade. None of those guys were super high-level prospects, but it was a nice package of like 3 or 4 prospects, a couple 2025 draft picks in there. I think another trade like that could work, especially maybe for a reliever, just because the reliever free agent market's not too robust, especially now after some of the top guys have signed. So it would make sense for them to flip maybe some of these mid-tier prospects or former prospects who are kind of blocked to try to bolster the pitching staff, because like you said, I mean, there's not going to be room for all these guys, and they kind of have a lot of their starters in place, and there's going to be guys who play every day. So it's going to be tough to try to find at-bats and reps for some of these other guys that are kind of blocking the system at the moment.
Yeah, one of them in particular, Jake, obviously that a lot of people are paying attention to was the, kind of the catching situation for Baltimore. I mean, 2 young players coming up through the ranks, and now one of them has an extended contract, and the other one is going to be a free agent after not at the conclusion of next season. And a guy like Adley Rutschman, how are the Orioles balancing the catching situation with a couple of guys that were really thought about as minor leaguers and turning into major league catchers?
Yeah, they definitely still believe in Adley Rutschman as kind of their number 1 catcher. I think they strongly believe that he's going to get back to that all-star form he showed in 2023 and the first half of 24. he had a pair of injuries last year that kind of ruined his momentum. He was starting to figure things out at the plate again offensively in June, and then just couldn't stay healthy the rest of the year. I think they still really want him to be the number one catcher. His defense and game calling and the stuff behind the plate is a notch higher than Basayo, who, Basayo might have the higher offensive potential of the two. That's why I think they're kind of a nice complement to each other. They want both in the lineup as often as possible. And we saw that last year when Basayo got up and Adley was healthy, that they want one at catcher and one at DH. And, it just makes the lineup that much stronger to have two guys like that in it. They had talked about maybe getting Basayo some first base reps, but I think that might go by the wayside just because there's not going to be that much time available at first base now, with Alonso going to eat a lot of that and the Mountcastle Mayo of it all and trying to figure out that. I think Basayo is going to focus more on catching and being the number two catcher and getting a lot of starts at DH and just kind of keeping guys fresh. The other thing is that Rutschman's been much better offensively when he's gotten the DH more. So if you have a guy like Basayo who you feel better with starting at catcher more so than like a true backup like James McCann they had or somebody like that, Basayo is better than that. So I feel like if they split the catching workload more evenly, it's going to keep both those guys fresh. It's going to keep them both having offensive success. And I think they intend to get both those guys in the lineup a ton this year.
Last thing for you, Jake, and our preview of the Baltimore Orioles for this season. Obviously, as we've talked about, there's might be a potential to trade Kobe Mayo and have to figure out the situation with Ryan Mountcastle, the first base situation for the Baltimore Orioles. If the Orioles do decide to trade away young, controllable talent, I would imagine it's probably going to be pitching that they want in return, but it could be something else. What do you think Baltimore is going to potentially use those pieces for to help bolster their team?
Yeah, I think it's 100% pitching. They haven't had a ton of trouble developing position player talent, and they just have they have a good core in place. The Gunnar Henderson's obviously lived up to his potential. Jordan Westberg has when he stayed healthy. If he can stay healthy and play a full 150 games or whatever, I think he's going to have a really good year. Jackson Holiday continues to make these strides forward. So I don't think they really need to make any trades for position players. They kind of added to that part of the roster already by getting Taylor Ward and making the big swing and signing Alonso. This pitching staff, they learned it last year. You can't have enough arms because they didn't have enough arms early in the year last year. And Charlie Morton underperformed, and the rotation and bullpen just kind of quickly fell apart in April or May. And their season was kind of over by the end of May because they had lost so many games and things had gone so wrong. So I think they really want to avoid a repeat of that. I think they're willing to stack as many arms as possible. That's why we've seen them already trade for Boz, re-sign Eflin, bring back Albert Suarez on a minor league deal, bring in some of these depth guys that they know can be solid arms if things don't go the way things are expected to. And it feels like that always happens. By the time spring training is over, there's going to be guys who they were counting on to, eat valuable innings that are going to be hurt or start on the IL or they need to monitor or whatever. So I feel like they just want to keep adding depth to this pitching staff. I think they're willing to add any pitchers, starters, relievers. They just want to get as many high-quality arms as possible. And if everybody stays healthy, great. They'll sort it out later. But the odds are guys aren't going to stay healthy, and they're going to have to monitor innings and stuff like that. So I think they're just going to keep exploring the trade market, the free agent market, and try to get as many good pitchers as possible throughout spring training.
Jake, we really appreciate you joining us today. Look forward to talking when the Padres play the Orioles maybe later on in the season, and have fun at spring training and getting ready to start the season. It's right there.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jake Rill covers the Baltimore Orioles for MLB.com, joining us on our 30 teams in 30-ish days. Interesting with the Kobe Mayo situation. I mean, the Kobe Mayo in a situation to me is where the Padres might be able to put together a trade, maybe. I don't know what they would give up for him. I mean, Kobe Mayo's 24 years old and he has, control until 2032. But there is a handful of players that are going to be out there that aren't going to fit on certain teams. We talked about that, Frank, earlier today about, kind of waiting to fill out your roster. There's going to be guys that don't make teams. They're going to get traded.
Yeah,
during spring training. And right now, Baltimore's got a plethora of first basemen.
They got a plethora of
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they have a plethora of everything right now. They have a plethora of what they've got. And again, that is why, I mean, Baltimore getting Pete Alonso was also kind of confusing at that time, at that point too, because they did have so much going on at first base. But when you have a chance to get a guy like Pete Alonso, you kind of go and take that opportunity, especially from a team that has had him, enjoyed him, and apparently didn't want him anymore. So I don't blame Baltimore at all for getting that, but that does open up the trade market because they do have a lot of surplus players at certain positions that the Padres could use.
Yeah, that might be a future trade partner for the San Diego Padres.
Sure.
I mean, just how many players that they have in Baltimore that aren't going to be able to fill out the roster because there's going to be not enough spots. This is the other portion of like why you would trade players that are young prospects, right? You're not going to be able to keep everybody. Eventually, you're going to have to trade some pieces away,
just blocked off
to make the roster as best you can. You can't hoard the prospects. I found it interesting. Like Adam sent us something yesterday, or sent me something yesterday when it came to like he's getting ready for fantasy baseball.
Of course.
And in an article on CBS Sports, it talked about first half or second half and certain players that just had a catastrophically bad second half.
Mm-hmm.
3 bullet points in a row, Frank. One was on James Wood having a terrible second half. The next one was on CJ Abrams having a terrible second half. And the third one was on Mackenzie Gore having a terrible second half. How many times have we talked about that trade between the Padres and the Nationals? We've already defended the fact that AJ Preller's won that trade just on the fact that you were able to get a Hall of Fame player on your team for 2 years. But the Nationals have already traded away one of those players. The other one is on the trade block. And who knows what you're going to get at James Wood, that everybody is upset that the Padres no longer have part of their organization, but a guy in James Wood that had a catastrophically bad second half to the season. Now, he's young and he's going to learn and all that other fun stuff. But at the same time, as much as we've talked about who's won the trade, you could almost get to a point where you could even say that AJ Preller fleeced Washington. And we're not even talking about your boy Harleen Sassana.
The Padres, for record keeping, the Padres went 4-2 in the Juan Soto trade last year. Went 4-2
against the Nats.
Won it 4. You won the Juan Soto trade 4 times last year, and you lost it
twice.
Mm-hmm.
Curious how they do this year. They should have a trophy for that game. The Juan Soto trade trophy.
The Who Won It trophy.
That's right. I don't mind. Yeah, you know what? I think we're on to something here.
Forget about who done it. It's who won it.
Who won the trade? Got to win the season series to count that. I mean, that's just going to be something we're talking about every time the Padres play the Nationals, unless the Nationals don't have these players anymore. Like if CJ Abrams gets traded at some point in time.
You went in 2024. You went 6-0 in the Juan Soto trade.
Hey, yeah. You're already starting to get a W by the Nationals trading away Mackenzie Gore to the Texas Rangers. San Diego FC's in action tonight. We'll get you a preview of their first game of the season as part of the CONCACAF Cup Championships. That's tonight at Snapdragon Stadium. We got a preview when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97 to the Fan. If you missed anything that we have said already, if you're driving around, we're talking about the promotional giveaways for the Padres here in 2026. If you want to check out the website where you could get this, is padres.com/giveaways, and it'll have the whole list. And again, if you want to buy tickets to these games, you could start going. The single game tickets are on sale on Tuesday, February 3rd. At 10 in the morning. That's the first chance that you have. Obviously, season ticket memberships have priority to do that. As we move along, we got the patriotic Aloha shirt for the day after Memorial Day. I think May 26th. So it's a Tuesday. Maybe it's coming before, but celebrate America's upcoming 250th birthday with the Padres themed patriotic Aloha shirt. Pretty nice. Got the Blue Angels on there. It's got the Padres logo. It's got the Padres military logo on a baseball. Nice little Hawaiian shirt, patriotic, against the Phillies on May 26th. Coming up on Tuesday, June 9th against the Reds. Bogey goes boom bobblehead. You got a Xander Bogaerts finishing his home run swing with his signature gray and maroon bat. So that's a pretty cool bobblehead as well. It's presented by Palomar Specialty Insurance on June 9th. So Bogarts has a bobblehead on Tuesday, June 9th. Coming up on Monday, June 22nd against the Atlanta Braves. Got the Western snapback hat. Kind of looks like a rodeo hat. It's pretty cool looking. It's got San Diego Padres in the Western font, if you will, or San Diego Padres written in Western font with the SD logo in the middle. Pretty cool looking hat right there. That's presented by Petco. First 40,000 fans in attendance will have that one. Again, all of these are for the first 40,000 fans for these, unless I say otherwise. Wednesday, July 8th, Trevor Hoffman bobblehead. He's repping the navy blue 1998 gear. Honor the Hall of Famer and Padres legendary closer with the Trevor Hoffman bobblehead. Presented by Canels. This bobblehead limited the first 40,000 fans, so it's in stride. Trevor Hoffman, kind of a classic look at bobblehead against the Diamondbacks in July. On July 12th, just for the kids, they have the Squeeze Top water bottle, which is a kids giveaway. I don't know if they have that here today because it's a kids giveaway. Again, some of these are for the first 40,000 fans. Some of them are for the first 10,000 fans. It's a kind of little water bottle for kids 14 and under. It looks like an ice cream sundae, which is pretty cool. Tuesday, July 28th. I know a lot of you guys love this one. It's presented by Soapy Joe's The Poncho. Got the San Diego Padres poncho. Looks pretty nice. I like it. I'm sure you'll see a lot of you guys repping that out there at Padre games. That's on July 28th. Bucket hats. Everybody loves the bucket hat. You got a reversible bucket hat, which you have multiple looks for. You have the Padres white home uniform version. You also have the sand away version as well with the swinging fryer on it. Multiple looks. Home and away bucket hat will be Thursday, July 30th against the Giants. A 6:40 start, first 40,000 fans. Coming up on August 10th, a superhero pocket tee presented by San Diego Community Power, which is pretty cool. Usually right after the Comic-Con road trip that the Padres have to go on. So a little bit of a superhero t-shirt. Pretty good front and back. It's got that front pocket. Small logo in the front, big logo in the back. It's good style for a t-shirt, let me tell you. Coming up on Sunday, August 23rd, it's another kids giveaway. You can check that on the website. Monday, August 24th, the next day against the Pirates, you got the Jackson Merrill robbery bobblehead. So it's Jackson Merrill robbing a home run with the blue fence right there in his home uniform. It's a pretty cool looking bobblehead. And then this is the best one. You thought you were going to give away. You thought you were going to get a secret. You thought you were going to get a secret. You thought you were going to find out about the City Connect uniforms. Well, we have the bobblehead for the City Connect uniforms. It just hasn't been painted yet. They're not going to display that until the new City Connect uniforms are out. But they have the Fernando Tatis City Connect bobblehead presented by Big Bully Turf. That will be on Tuesday, September 8th against the Washington Nationals. Dressed in the Padres City Connect 2.0, the Tatis City Connect bobblehead presented by Big Bully Turf channels Nando's flair at the plate, limited to the first 40,000 fans in attendance. Dynamic details of this bobblehead will make it a centerpiece for your collectibles. Again, we don't know what the City Connect uniforms are yet, but that is what that will look like. August on 97 to the Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. We're also broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Let's talk a little bit about San Diego FC. San Diego FC is in action tonight, Frank, as they will be getting their season started. It is year 2, which begins with a little bit of pressure, not necessarily patience that you would get in year 1. San Diego FC doesn't get the luxury of a soft reset in year 2, after a shock debut season that saw the expansion club top Major League Soccer and the Western Conference. Expectations have changed. San Diego FC opens its 2026 campaign tonight at Snapdragon Stadium in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, facing Pumas Unum in a two-leg opening round showdown. This isn't just another match. It's a measuring stick for how real San Diego FC's rise actually is. Fast turnaround, short runway for this club. Only 65 days between the end of their season last year in 2025 to the start of 2026 competition. Very short offseason, very short preseason. And Coach Mikey Varas is fresh off of a contract extension, acknowledging the readiness to be acknowledged the readiness will be a challenge. Yet Varas isn't lowering expectations. He's reframing them. It's not a problem. It's a challenge. San Diego FC back in action now tonight against Pumas Unum, who is unbeaten in 2026. They have 2 wins and 2 draws, coming off of a 4-0 demolition of Santos Laguna. Mid-season sharp, fully in rhythm, historically comfortable in this competition. It is going to be a tough task tonight as San Diego FC, Frank, tries to build off of what they had last year. And the question really is there more pressure on San Diego FC after they set the expectations really high in year one of a phenomenal year?
I wouldn't say the pressure's on to duplicate it. I would say it's on to stay somewhat close.
Maintain it.
Yeah, just maintain some form of what you had last year. Now, I don't know how much stock I would put into tonight's game as far as that's concerned. It's the first match in a couple months together. I know they've been playing scrimmages, but nothing really relates to the real thing. So you're back on the pitch for the first time in months. Because of the way the MLS schedule is, which is changing next year, you are getting to the start of your season while every other competition in the world is in their mid-season right now. Liga MX included. So with San Diego FC, they also did not do well against the Liga MX clubs last year. I mean, they had their good exhibition game against Tijuana, but when they came to cup and tournament play against these Liga MX teams last year, they did not do well. I mean, they got walked pretty fair-handedly in those games last year. So I'm not looking for a win. I'm not looking for a dominating performance here tonight against Pumas. What you're looking for is just competence and a shred of what last year was out of this team as we inch closer and closer to the start of the MLS season.
Pumas were the Champions Cup finalists in 2022. They represent Liga MX, a league that has won 3 straight championship cups. MLS hasn't lifted the trophy since the Seattle Sounders did it in 2022. This is San Diego FC's first taste, by the way, of aggregate scoring, away goals pressure, and continental level physicality, which changes everything for a team that's going to be playing their first game. And as you mentioned, Frank, Pumas is playing their 5th game of 2026.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know how these international tournaments work, like we're sitting here watching Arsenal and Chelsea play in the Carabao Cup right now, aggregate goals are the total goals between both games. So if you win 2-1 and then lose 2-0, or if you win 2-1 and you lose in the first game and you lose 2-0 in the second game, you lose the overall series 3-2. So that's your aggregate goals. Also, I know UEFA's kind of gone away from this as far as the Champions League, but apparently the CONCACAF Champions Cup hasn't. Away goals count more. So if you win 2-0 here, and if you win 2-0 at Pumas, and then you lose 2-0. If you lose 2-0 at no.
Are you trying to do math on the radio right now?
No, I'm not trying to do math. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. If you win 3-0 at Pumas, and then you win, and then you lose. I think it's 4-3. Away goals count more. I'm trying to think of a way to explain it.
If you
score 2 goals in each game, your 2 goals on the road count more than the 2 goals at home.
Correct.
So the away goals matter more than what you would score at home. Is all I'm trying to say. So that also plays into the aggregate as well. I'm sorry for being so bad at explaining that, but that's basically what it comes down to.
You've had a rough day.
Thank you for letting me struggle through that, by the way. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I appreciate the helping hand.
I mean, it's just been, it kind of recaps like the day that you've had.
Yes, it
today.
Does.
You need a drink or something.
I don't.
What's your favorite non-alcoholic beverage? That's what you need.
A brisk iced tea would
That's
be
what you need.
very,
You need
very
a brisk
good
iced
right
tea
now.
with a lemon in the side.
That would be very, very good right now, actually.
Somebody bring him a burrito. See what happens? You don't get a burrito in day 2?
Bring my man's a burrito.
This guy needs a burrito bad. Just don't put hash browns in it. This match is important, though, for a lot of reasons. I mean, obviously, the pressure's on San Diego FC and the goalkeeper in Pablo Cisniega. And he made it clear, at home it's important not to concede because of the away goals. An away goal conceded at Snapdragon could swing the entire tie. Next leg is at Estadio Olímpico Universitario in Mexico City. Altitude, intensity, hostility. Good news for San Diego FC, 10 home clean sheets in 2025. Defense held strong in the MLS Cup playoff win. Snapdragon has already been proven to be somewhat of a fortress. Still the same core for San Diego FC. Because the other thing, too, it's like, what's the difference in team from last year? It's only it's been 65 days since their last game, which was last season. Cisniega's in goal. Ian Pilcher still anchoring the defense. Andres Dreyer's up front. Dreyer now extended through the 2028-2029 season and is undeniably the new face of the franchise after 23 goals in 41 matches, becoming the heartbeat of San Diego FC's attack. And then there's the Chucky Lozano situation. He's the highest paid player on the team, but he got benched late in the season after a locker room incident, reduced to a bench role in the playoffs, and now San Diego FC has announced plans to part ways. This is no longer Lozano's team. It's Andres Dreyer's team.
Yes. So, and again, thank you, Big Nando, for explaining it the way I was trying to spit it out. If the aggregate stays at 2-2 or 3-3 or whatever, if they're tied on aggregate, then it's whoever scored the most away goals. Thank you for reading my mind. But yes, to see Chucky Lozano, I don't know whether or not he's going to be there tonight even, but that is going to be a big factor. They still have not found a way to get rid of him, number one. They still have not found somebody to bring in to replace him, number two. I believe I saw a report that Minnesota United is getting, I think it's either Colombia or Venezuela's number one national team striker. So that's going to be huge. There's talks of the MLS really trying to push teams to get Cristiano Ronaldo to the league, with teams like LAFC and, of course, Inter Miami being front runners for that. These are names, and we've also talked about Kevin De Bruyne possibly being linked to San Diego as well. So there are options out there for San Diego FC to replace Chucky Lozano. Unfortunately, none of them have come to fruition yet.
I think like this match tonight, I don't think it's about advancing to the next round. I don't think it's really about I think it's can they replicate what they did last year? Can they show that it wasn't a fluke last year? Can they show that they belong? And can they show they can belong on a continental stage too? I mean, they have proven that they could obviously hang in the MLS, but are they a team that's going to be a team that is, competitive with all teams on this continent? And this is a good showing of that here at Snapdragon Stadium tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And for San Diego FC, again, you're not looking to win this. Winning this tournament and getting deeper, that's a great debate when it comes to soccer teams and soccer leagues is how far do you really want to advance in the Carabao Cup? Of course, it's great to win it. How far do you really want to advance in the FA Cup or the Coppa Italia? Because that just means more games. That means less recovery time. That means less focus on what the main goal is, which is winning the league title. So, of course, it's always great to be in these tournaments. It's always great to be good enough to play in these tournaments. But right now for San Diego FC, this is effectively your preseason. This is your spring training right now to get you ready for the MLS season coming up. So all you're looking for is that competence that you had last year. You're looking to show that last year was not a fluke. You're looking to be just, if you're not there, just off of that with things you can fix.
Games tonight here at Snapdragon Stadium. That's not the only event going on tonight. Aztecs basketball back in action today against Wyoming. They will tip off late tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific time. We'll get you a preview of what the Aztecs should be doing against Wyoming when we come back. Finish up the show. Aztecs basketball on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Final segment of the Braden Surprenant Show here on a Tuesday. San Diego FC in action tonight. CONCACAF Champions Cup starts tonight. We'll have a recap of that on tomorrow's show and get Drake back on later in the week as we talk soccer. Back at 65 days is a quick turnaround between a season to another season.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
It's a benefit of being able to make it that far as they did in the MLS Cup.
Yeah, we had a caller call in during the break, mention that with this being the Champions Cup, it is an international tournament, and it gives you an opportunity to go and play in the Club World Cup and get your team out there more on an international stage. And you're absolutely right. You're 100% right with that. The point that I was making was, while it is nice to win those tournaments, and it's great to put another trophy in the cabinet, that's not the goal. The goal is to win league. The goal is to take the domestic trophy, is to win the MLS Cup in this case. Much like for Chelsea and Arsenal, who are playing in the Carabao Cup right now. Winning the Carabao Cup is great. You want to win the Premier League right now. So if Arsenal blows this game in the next 5 minutes, that stinks. But they're leading the league right now, and they have more time to focus on that. That's the point that I was making. It's an internal discussion that every single team has every single year. Is how far do we really want to push it in this tournament? It's great if we win it; it's a bonus. But how much does that affect our ability to win the Premier League or Serie A or La Liga or the MLS Cup?
We got Aztec basketball on tonight as well. They're going to be taking on Wyoming at 8 o'clock. Gave away those tickets yesterday to a do you remember who we gave it to? I just know it was his birthday, so it's great that he gets to go on his birthday or like the birthday week.
I don't remember.
Can't remember off the top of your head. Well, hopefully he enjoys the game. Aztecs come in today, and we mentioned this briefly. Aztecs come in today as the second to last team in the NCAA tournament, according to Joe Lenardi. As a first four team, they got to play their way out of that situation. Their metrics are okay. They're not the best. I mean, I still want to understand the difference. And you can look at the bubble watch that they put on ESPN. I still want to know the difference between like why Utah State is so much better than the Aztecs in terms of the metrics. I mean, San Diego State, they needed to win that game at Utah State. I didn't think it was like a must-win game for them. But Utah State is like 27 in the net. San Diego State is down to 40-something. I think, what are they, 45? And we'll see what happens. They play at Viejas Arena. But the schedule for Utah State, this is Utah State's metrics. And again, San Diego State plays Wyoming tonight. They should be able to take care of business. But they're competing with Utah State and New Mexico for bids in the NCAA tournament. Utah State's 7-3, 8-2 in their last 10. They're 27 in the net, 24 in the RPI. Strength of schedules is 72. They're 1-2 in quad 1 games. They're 5-0 in quad 2, 6-1 in quad 3, and 5-0 in quad 4. That quad 3 loss that they have was it's not South Florida because they lost that game on the road. I mean, South Florida is one of their quad 1 losses. Their quad 3 loss is to UNLV at home, where they lost by 10. And that was a recent loss that they had. They lost by 10 at home to UNLV. And then they went down to Grand Canyon. This was a back-to-back loss week. They went down to Grand Canyon. They lost by 10 as well, which is different than the Aztecs playing Grand Canyon and different than the Aztecs when they played UNLV. But the quad 1 win for Utah State, and again, as I look at this, I want to know the comparison. Like BPI is one thing. ESPN puts that out. You usually have to do with recruiting rankings. I don't really view those as important. You know, quad 1 games, like their one quad 1 win is against Boise State on the road. And they lost to South Florida and Grand Canyon. Their quad 2 wins, San Diego State, Virginia Commonwealth, Illinois State, Colorado State. They lost to, and then their game against Nevada. That's their 5 quad 2 games. They have a home loss to UNLV by 10 points. Was in the same category as San Diego State losing to Troy at home. But I just, based on the overall metrics of San Diego State and Utah State, I don't understand how Utah State is like a for sure team in the bracket from an at-large standpoint, yet San Diego State's like one of the last teams in. To me, that doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I know the Aztecs are 1-4 in quad one games, but they have played way more quad one games than Utah State has, and have played the number 2 and number 3 team in the country, according to the net, in Arizona and Michigan. I know you got to get credit for winning some games, at least competing in some of those games, but they've played a lot more difficult of a schedule than Utah State has. That's why I find it interesting. I mean, 3-1 in quad 2 games. Their one loss was to Baylor, as compares to what Utah State has done, and then they're 5-1 in quad 3, which is like the same as Utah State. They're both undefeated in quad 4 games. I don't understand how they're like that drastically better than San Diego State. Now, in terms of tonight's game, again, we're looking at from a metric standpoint, Wyoming is going to count as like a quad 3 game. Might even be quad 4. Home, no, that's going to be a quad 3 game. So a quad 3 game is against Wyoming. They're going to go to Air Force, which I think is going to be a quad 4 game. Then they get Nevada at home. Now, Nevada is just outside of a quad 1 spot as they're 59 of the net. So that'd be a quad 2 game. Grand Canyon at home is a quad 2 game. At Colorado State, they're 100 in the net. So that's going to be a quad 2 game. You're not going to get your quad 1 games until the end of February, and you get 3 in a row. Utah State, quad 1 game. New Mexico, quad 1 game. Boise State, quad 1 game. You have to win. I think for San Diego State now to be comfortable in the NCAA tournament as a at-large, I think they got to go 2-1. They got to split on the road between New Mexico and Boise, and they got to beat Utah State at home. That's how I view the Aztecs in terms of their overall metrics after losing at Utah State. Losing at Utah State's not terrible, but they got to be able to split with them in the overall grand scheme of things. So they like if they can beat Utah State at home on February 25th, they'll be in a lot better position. But the other thing too for San Diego State, until they get to that point, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games before they play Utah State. They're running out of opportunities to just like cough one up. I know they only have 2 losses in conference. They're tied for first place with Utah State, with New Mexico. They still get to play both of those teams one more time each. They got to be playing really good basketball against Wyoming and Air Force. At least they already knocked off Nevada on the road, and they get them at home. They don't have to worry about going to Grand Canyon again. They get them at home. I think that's a big plus for the Aztecs. I think the Colorado State game on the road is a trap game just as much as it was at home. And then those 3 games to end the season relatively before you play UNLV, the final game of the year, those 3 games are the games that are going to make or break whether or not you make the NCAA tournament. Utah State, New Mexico, and Boise State. Those are the 3 games that are going to make or break whether or not you need to win the Mountain West tournament. That's how I see that game tonight between San Diego State and Wyoming. This is a must. This is a for sure game that needs to happen. And I don't think it's going to be that much of a challenge. I mean, they can't let Wyoming hang around with them. They got to be able to bounce back after the game that they had against Utah State. And so we'll see what Wyoming's got. But they handled Wyoming pretty well at the Dome of Doom, Frank. I can't imagine this game being that much of a contest. What regardless of what Magoon-Gua's status might be, hopefully LZ Harrington can come back, who missed some time. But other than that, like, these are take care of business games until you get to Utah State at home.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really all you have to do is just get your wins, get your games in, beat who you need to beat. And that's exactly what the opportunity that San Diego State has here tonight is just to beat a team that they know they could beat. They're 4-7 in the Mountain West, Wyoming is. And then you're going to Air Force versus Nevada versus Grand Canyon. That's one thing about playing all those good teams on the road early is now when you need these wins, you've proven you can play these games close. Now you get them at home and the script flips. So it gets a little bit easier for you on the back end. You've got a lot of games here that you can win that make it a lot easier for you leading up to the 25th of February against Utah State.
There's good news and there's bad news with this Aztecs team. The good news is the Aztecs still control their own destiny. They've already played road games against most of the contenders as the schedule sets up favorably over the next 5 games, as mentioned before. Wyoming, Air Force, Nevada, Grand Canyon, Colorado State. I mean, those are all must-wins if San Diego State wants at least to share the title. Most of those games are at home with the two going, like with 2 exceptions in there. And there's a very easy schedule. Out of those 5 games, right? Out of those 5 games, the 2 toughest opponents you get at home.
Yeah.
In Nevada and Grand Canyon. So that's the good news. Now, the bad news, Frank, is health again.
Mm-hmm.
Reese Dixon-Waters rolled his ankle in the second half and wasn't the same. Magoon Guath remains out. Elsie Harrington is now in a walking boot for 2 weeks. That's 40% of the starting lineup either compromised or unavailable, and it showed late in Logan, but still context matters. Here's what you need to know about tonight's game with records. San Diego State is 36-2 at home after a loss under Brian Dutcher. They've won 14 straight against Wyoming, and they're 51-11 in games immediately following a loss. This program almost never lets one loss turn into 2.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the margin of error is gone. They don't have any more cushion anymore. They can't have the "we'll be fine" attitude that a lot of fans had after they lost to Troy. It's almost bracket play time right now for San Diego State, and it's got to be one game at a time, and it's business against these 5 teams coming up that are going to make or break whether or not you win the conference outright. And then the 3 games that I mentioned, the 3 quad 1 games in a row: Utah State at home, at New Mexico, at Boise State. Those are the 3 most pivotal games in determining whether or not the Aztecs make the NCAA tournament without winning the Mountain West tournament.
That, and also Utah State has not played New Mexico yet. They get them at New Mexico, and then they play them at the end of the season. So those are 2 big games for them also. 2
big games for San Diego State fans to pay attention to. San Diego State in action tonight against Wyoming. When we come back tomorrow, we'll recap the SDFC first game of the year. We'll recap Aztecs basketball. We'll have more Padres baseball for you 7 days before spring training.